proclamation banning travel from 12 countries, citing national security concerns.
The move has sparked criticism from various institutions, including Harvard University, which labeled it an illegal retaliatory step.
Filings for U.S. unemployment benefits rose to their highest level in 8 months last week, signaling potential concerns in the labor market. Despite the increase, claims remain historically low, indicating a still strong job market.
Economists are watching the trend closely to determine if it signifies a broader economic slowdown.
A Russian drone attack on the Ukrainian city of Pryluki has resulted in the deaths of 5 individuals, including a 1-year-old child, his mother and grandmother.
The incident occurred just hours after a phone conversation between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The Yurok tribe in California has regained approximately 73 square miles of its ancestral lands along the Klamath River, more than doubling its land holdings.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee here, please?
You know what? I forgot to put some blue sky and red. I just forgot. Terrible person. I'll get around to it. It doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend. My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
I don't know. Oh, look at that. Look at it. Look at it. You know, look at it. Oh, wow, that's good showbiz for you, isn't it? Good morning, folks. It is Friday, right? We are almost completed another week here. It's been a hell of a week here. It's Friday, June 6th, 2025, D-Day, June 6th. And apparently Donald Trump thinks that was a bad day for Germany. According to a meeting he had with the Chancellor of Germany yesterday, he said, well, that wasn't a good day for you. It was a great day for them. They were liberated, or the beginning of the liberation from Nazi dictatorship, or, Hitler. So it was a good day for them, but Donald Trump doesn't remember it that way. Anyway, great day, June 6th, because a lot of the allies helped. It wasn't just the United States just going in there on its own and striking against the Nazis. It was Britain, Canada, Australia. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. But a joint effort. When I say joint, it always makes me high. Today we have an interesting show for you. I don't know how Ken Miller got booked on this program. I think he probably sent me an email. I was looking up he's a funding and grants specialist. And listen, I could use I could use some grants, and I could definitely use some funding. What he sees in this program? Oh yeah, I want to go up there with those yucky guys in the morning, the yuckers. That's why he's on the yucks. Well, no, Jackie's the yucks. He's the bucks and yucks of this morning. Jackie Martling will be here. Jackie, the bartender from the Slutty Sister, I think is the name of the show on Amazon. The Slutty Sister, the sister who swallows, something like that. So Jackie's got his house is the main character in this series on Amazon, and he's got I want to say a starring role as bartender Jackie. Now he's not the first Jackie to have a starring role on television. No. There's Jackie Gleason. Remember him? You don't. Anyway, speaking of starring roles, I am in Murder Mystery tonight. Murder Mystery Theater. Whacked. The Whack family reunion. Luau. The Whacked family. And I play Roland Whack, the matriarch of the Whack family, the guy who actually gets whacked. And I got some time to die, which I'm kind of excited about. You know how much I've been looking forward to dying. Well, I actually get to die. I get to get stabbed. Now, maybe Jackie can give me some tips on my thespianism, how I should play this out, because I have some time to kill in the process of dying. Maybe I could go to Willie's long death, whatever that, slow death, whatever, and just not do anything that he does, and I'll be safe there. Anyway, been a hell of a couple of days, but I realize that by any measure, my life is objectively better than these trolls, from the Blind Mike people to the Twitter people who are just trolling me. Listen, my life, here's my life. I go teach paint parties and enjoy the painting process. I go play concerts. I go do murder mystery shows and live events and things like that. That's what I do. What do? You sit there on a computer and go, I love Blind Mike better than you. I like Blind Mike. I like Blind Mike. There's this song in there. I'm a little slow this morning. I'm a little slow every morning. So I'm going to play a commercial, and then we'll say hello to GD and Steven, who, it doesn't look like Ron Kane is here for some reason. Ron Kane popped in on them on a Thursday. Generally Friday is his day, but he might not be here today, and I'll miss him. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay?
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Well, that's a nice bud you got in that pipe. Ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me right now are the popping, coming and going, going and coming, and come eating, Steven, sitcom, whatever his name is. And what? And also with me now are hey, I didn't feel like coming on your dopey show last night, GD Fenderson.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. The following PSA is brought to you by Good Brew, bro. Good Brew. Shit. PSA. Time to twist your gut again. Now, Good Brew, you can dissolve it in a liquid or just put it straight out of the can. It works either way. So,
is he talking? Or is that just lips flapping? What was that? Huh? PSA, isn't that what they measure to find out if you got prostate cancer?
At any rate, here we go. Today's guest, our first guest today talks in acronyms. So as a public service announcement to the audience out there, we're going to tell you what those acronyms mean. So when he starts using them, you have an idea what he's talking about. CFRE means can't find reasonable employment. AFP, absent follicle person. So he's bald. And CMT, Country Music Television. I guess everybody knows that one.
No.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries and enjoy the suffering.
We just lost Steven.
I didn't lose him. It was your turn to watch him. I was talking. You're supposed to watch him.
I watched him disappear.
That's kind of like my 401k.
Yeah. So Elon Musk and Donald Trump are having a girl fight, pulling hair and throwing tantrums.
I'm just hoping it's only a matter of time before, because Musk already said you wouldn't have won the election without me. And I'm just waiting for the next sentence to be, if I hadn't cheated and stole and robbed and bought.
Nah, not happening. He ain't setting himself up for prison time by throwing just to spite Trump. Not gonna do it. Well, I got brighter.
Maybe not in a text, because but if he gets out there in an interview and he gets passionate and he just starts talking, he may slip up.
I'm trying to unbrighten myself because I'm way too bright. I'm a bright fella, and now I'm not.
It's your future. Enough. It's not you. Your future's so bright. We have to wear shades.
Maybe I should wear shades. Now, last night I interviewed Guy Morris, who has a book about the image. It's supposed to be, I think, the image of the beast. It's kind of like a Shroud of Turin stuff, but it's also the beast. Right. AI discovers this beast. It's based on some real stuff that's going on at CERN and all this stuff. He digs deep into the research and all this kind of stuff with AI, and he's an AI expert. But the beast looks a little like he's wearing sunglasses, like dark glasses. Like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be an image from a mythological figure, or maybe not mythological, from thousands of years ago. Or when was sunglasses invented? That's my. It looks like a rock star. He looks. The beast has got dark glasses on. Does that make sense?
Maybe it's eyeshadow. Maybe it's just his eyes are darkened out. You know how like Batman does it, and superheroes darken out their eyes so you can't. So when they close their eyes, it disappears.
Yeah. Speaking of super zeros, there he is now. Super Zero.
Sorry about that. My computer was being funky, and I wanted to restart before the guest got here.
You're a cunt. You're a cunt.
Well, you're still freezing, and your words are lagging behind you by about 3.2 seconds.
Just own it. Just own being a cunt.
You think it's 3.2 or 3.4 seconds? I'm thinking 3.2.
My timer's off. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So you guys were invited to be on the show last night, a couple of days ago, and you seemed like, oh yeah, it's a good day, I'll do it. And then neither one of you showed up. GD was in the chat room for a second.
Actually, I was in the chat room for a long time, but I was in the Facebook chat room, which you don't monitor, which it took me a while to realize. I didn't realize I was in the Facebook chat room. Because I just clicked on the live stream, and it took me to Facebook, and I was just waking up like a minute before that thing happened.
Steven, what's your lame excuse? You don't have one.
Oh, I just forgot.
Oh, I just forgot.
Well, yeah, I just forgot. I was distracted.
Yeah, I think Ken Miller forgot to. Ken Miller is supposed to be here. Now, Ken Miller is a fundraising grants expert. Like, what would make somebody see this show? Or maybe they didn't see the show. They just started listening and said, that's a show I want to get on to talk business.
Well, someone probably said to him,
come on and say they have fun.
Someone probably said to him, we need to get you out there doing talk shows and stuff like that. And he goes, but I'm a terrible speaker. I'm a great fundraiser, but I'm a terrible speaker. I do terrible at live conversation. And they said, well, start off easy. Start off with Coffee with the Dog. They're easygoing.
All right, let me shoot that theory down if I can shoot that. He's been on 20 podcasts this year, and he big part of his thing is public.
Were they live or recorded?
I don't know, but he
that's what I'm saying.
He goes around doing keynote speeches and conferences and stuff like that. So that shoots.
I'm not going to let you shoot it down. I'm going to stand by because this is live broadcast across the entire planet and even parts of the universe unknown. And so this is different than just sitting in the room recording and they go like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can you edit that out? Thank you.
Nobody ever does that. I've even when I did do a couple of pre-recorded, nobody ever said, hey, I said too many times. Can you say my thumbs out?
Well, no, actually, what's his face?
What's his face?
Actually,
His face is a
John Beavers will go through and delete all the ums and ahs if a person is umming and ahhing too much. And in done way past funny, if somebody says something that they didn't mean to say, or in the context they didn't mean to say, I will edit it out at their request. So, yeah.
Right. At their request, has anybody ever requested that? I said,
yeah. Oh, yes. I've had people request it because they'll like. There's a question I ask almost everybody, and that is, the place that you perform, what's the best smelling place and the worst smelling place you've ever performed? And when it comes to the worst smelling place, sometimes they'll blurt it out, and then they'll go like, "Wait a minute, I'm booked there next week, or I'm booked there, so I'm not. I'll." And then he will say, they'll ask me to delete the name, and I said, "Well, you can still tell the story. I'll just delete the name. Just tell the story, and I'll delete the name, and they'll do that."
And then you don't delete the name, and you go.
No, I do. I delete the name, and then if I think you can read the name from the lips, I'll blur out the lips.
All right. I'll guess this here. I want to get to them really quick, but
well, go ahead, really quick.
Go ahead. Right. I want to first mention that I did go to rehearsal for Knock 'em Dead comedy, the first rehearsal I've ever been to, and this is a completely different play that Tony has written. But it occurred to me like halfway, I'm sitting there and I met the cast. This is a whole new cast, and I'm like, there should be another woman here because the cast has this Anita, and I don't know who's playing Anita. And then it turns out the guy next to me is playing Anita. And I said to Tony, is this like a prerequisite for murder mystery? There has to be a guy in a dress. And he said, yes, that's part of. Did you know that part of the murder mystery format? It's like a romance novel has to have a happy ending. A murder mystery has to have a guy in a dress.
I have only gone to one.
This sounds like
or two. No, I've only gone to 2 murder mysteries, and there were no guys in dresses. I think it's a prerequisite.
This sounds like Tony Walker has a kink.
That's one of his kinks. The other kink I happen to like.
I think it's one of his prerequisites, not one of the industry's prerequisites.
Yeah, well, he did say, "Yeah, that's our thing. That's our thing." Whatever that means.
That's our thing. What?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
But one of the other kink that he has. And I like this, but it's also a little distracting. The part I play always has a hot young wife, an attractive young female that I am paired.
It's actually a guy in a dress.
No.
I'm just teasing.
Here's the thing, though. I got there early, and this young lady walks in, and she aggressively comes over and shakes my hand and introduces herself. And then I find out that she's playing my wife or my young wife. In this thing, I'm the matriarch, but it's also the first real day of summer, and she's in these like cut off shorts, like really short shorts, and she's got all this young female energy. And I'm like, I'm way distracted here, man. There's no way I'm gonna be able to kind of remember my lines. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. And then I noticed.
Just say to him, "Can you change my lines to blah, 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 blah."
Yeah. Then I noticed the guy who's going to be in a dress, and he's on his phone like he's reading his lines, but it's conveniently like pointed right at her shorts. And I'm like, this fucking perv over here, he's fucking taping this girl, and she don't even know it. Basically, you could see every time she's moving, he's like doing this, like he's reading his lines, but he's actually, I know what you're doing. I've seen that on trains and planes and automobiles. I know how that works. I didn't call him out.
That's some super rapey behavior. I would have called that dude out. That's gross. That's ew.
What am I gonna do?
Matt did call him out. Matt called him out and said, "Hey, can you send me a copy?"
Yeah.
No.
I don't need it because it's
Can you airdrop me that?
It's ingrained in my brain now. I mean, the whole drive home, I was just thinking, man, this is going to be really distracting. She's got this very feminine energy about her. It's just like irresistible. It's like, oh, leave me alone. I don't need this.
Weird. A woman has feminine energy.
Like incredible. You just cut out the important words. Incredible.
Okay.
Now don't do that to me, Stephen, because I will fuck you up. I will come to your house. I will punch your little fucking ugly face inside out, leave you bleeding to death, and then say, "Sorry, man, I didn't mean to do that."
All I heard was blah blah blah. Girl in short shorts.
All right, I'll be there by noon today. I will fuck you up.
Okay. Let's go.
All right.
Don't make promises you won't keep now, because I'll be really upset if you don't show up.
Yeah,
don't threaten me with a good time.
So as I
best time.
mentioned, I have no idea why Ken Miller wants to be on this program. Maybe he heard us saying Tony Miller and thought, oh, well, maybe I belong there. I don't know.
It's also possible that Ken has too great of a reputation. He's trying to bring it down a notch so he doesn't intimidate his friends at dinner.
Ooh, that could be, man. That's a good.
Because I have friends that are married, couples, and they don't like being around me and my wife because they think I make them look bad because of how well I treat my wife. And they think, because I'll hold the door for her, I'll hold the seat for her, I'll stand up when she gets up to
hold
leave.
your lips for a second. Since you started out with anachronisms, can you tell me what CFRE stands for?
I already told you. CFRE stands for couldn't find responsible employment. I'm sorry, couldn't find reasonable employment.
I'm not
That's
sure
what CFRE stands for.
I'm not sure that's it. All right.
I'm pretty sure, but I
certified financial retard exterminator. Like, he gets rid of people that are bad with their finances.
All right, Ken Miller is a dynamic trainer, speaker, and consultant. Ken was awarded a certified fundraising executive CFRE designation in 2016.
I can see this interview is going to be starting off really confrontational because he's going to have to correct you and tell you that I'm right. Okay.
And received the AFP Certified Financial Trainer CMT, which is Country Music Television. We figured that one out. Certificate in 2017, and in 2020 he was awarded the Outstanding Professional in Philanthropy by the AFP.
Absent follicle.
He was
absent follicle particles.
He was raised in Alaska. Let's say hello to him. Good morning, Ken. Thank you for being here. I know it's very early where you are, and why the hell would you want to come on a program like this and ruin your stellar reputation?
Man, after listening to you guys, I couldn't wait. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. Let's bring it on. Hey, good to see you, Matt, and the crew. And I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit.
All right.
And let's take it from there.
Okay.
How did your parents wind up in Alaska?
Excuse me?
How did your parents wind up in Alaska? I'm assuming since you went to high school in Alaska, you were with your parents.
Yes. Yeah. They moved up in 75 from New York. So, it wasn't much of a change. I just remember the day my mom came to say, going to Alaska, I cried. I was 12 years old and I was crying. Had my new little girlfriend, 8th grade. And I was like, oh, man.
Oh, you must have thrown tantrums like, oh, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice.
Because in the 70s, I graduated from high school in 77. And one of the employment opportunities at the time was either working for, going to Detroit to work in one of the automotive factories or going to Alaska to work the pipeline.
That's I took the pipeline. Big money.
Wow. Yeah, money isn't everything, though. I mean, the winters are not fun in Alaska. Well, you would know better than me. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
I tell people cold's cold, wet's wet.
Yeah, but they get dark. They get a long, dark winter, and we don't get that much dark.
All right.
So there's so much dark. Those winters are so dark. It's like being at one of my family reunions. It's a lot of dark.
If we can turn the conversation to something that Ken is really here to talk about instead of your dopey little life story. He always wants to make it about him. Oh, I was in 1975. I was still in high school. But
at least he didn't tell us about his mom in the 70s.
He was going to. I just cut him off. He was about to get to his mom.
Just wait.
Ken Denali,
I can feel it coming. That's what she said.
All right, Steven. Your face still works for now. Ken, Denali FSP, tell us about the program and the company, and what exactly is it that you actually do? You'll help me get a grant. Can I get a grant?
No. They might give somebody else a grant, but I think they'll give you one after listening to y'all. Very simply, what we do at Denali FSP is we consult for nonprofits that want fundraising help, and then we do write grants. We predominantly work in the tribal world, so we write grants for tribes throughout the country, very large grants, multi-million-dollar grants. So that's what my company does. I've had it about 11 years, worked with about 150 clients, but it's business. Let me just say this. This is what I tell people. I have a company, I have a business. That's what I do to support my family. It's just a vehicle. I learned that 40 years ago. I went to a presentation being trained by Kodak. And Kodak, the gentleman said there, he said, Kodak is not in the film business. And I about fell out of my seat because we're selling film. You know, this is wholesale. And he said, Kodak is in the business of making a profit. We just happen to sell film. And I have never forgotten. I heard that in 1985, still remember that. I just happen to do fundraising consulting, but I'm in the business of making a profit so that I can support my family and do the things that I like to do at the level I like to do it.
I got to take a little bit of a tangent already here, because I've been getting emails every day about the big riches that can be made in nonprofits. Because if Kodak is in the business of making a profit, then every business that is for profit is in the business of making a profit. But now that I'm getting inundated with nonprofits of the big. I always thought nonprofit meant there was no extra money at the end of the day. But
no.
So
nonprofit is an IRS term, which it means that we are not taxed on our profits. So when we call it surplus, we had to come up with a fancy word for anytime you have a net positive asset level coming in and you have your expenses. We just call it a surplus, but it just means it's just a tax. And that's why we have to be registered as usually a 501c3, which is a charity. But again, yeah, we want a surplus. We still got to keep the lights on. We still got to deliver our service. We still got to pay the employees. We just don't pay taxes.
I can hide the surplus. I just give it to me as a salary, and we'll just say it that, and then we're back to even, right? Isn't that the way it works? The CEO will just take the surplus and call it salary.
No, because the IRS will frown on that. And there are many individuals who have taken advantage of that nonprofit. But as a nonprofit, you have to have a board of directors. You have to be registered within your state. I mean, I can talk about this for hours. It's somewhat boring, but you have to be registered.
It's not boring if you talk about some of the criminals that have been caught doing that stuff. Let's talk about the Trump family. Their nonprofit, their charity, they had a little legal problems because of the way they were handling their funds.
But they didn't go to jail. I mean, it's
that's the sad thing. It seems like the people never go to jail. That is disturbing.
Rare. More it'll be financial repercussions. They'll shut you down, and then 6 months later you'll start up again under a new nonprofit.
Yeah, I don't mind the IRS frowning on me. It's when they start an audit. That's okay. I'm out.
Yeah, I know. I have an LLC, but it turned out it's a nonprofit. So
it wasn't designed to be.
No.
But see, now I misunderstood. I thought I was in the business of making people laugh, and I should have been in the business of making a profit, and I had the wrong business model.
Yeah. See,
he collects laughs though when people laugh at him.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I also accepted different types of payments sometimes. Sometimes you got paid in weed, sometimes you got paid in food and beer.
Yeah.
So I had a terrible business model.
Ken, who supplies the grants? Is it the government or is it corporation or philanthropists?
It's funding sources. For grants, it's predominantly going to be governmental. So it's going to be state, county, city, federal. Then you have what are called foundations, like the Gates Foundation or the Allen Foundation. Those are called private foundations. And then you have individual, then you have corporate. So British Petroleum would give millions of dollars in Alaska. And then you have individuals who will donate funds that are what we call unrestricted, usually.
I'm confused about. Well, I'm not confused because I don't see the good in people, and I'm wondering people do it for tax write-off reasons. The individuals, because I'm assuming I'm assuming a lot here. I'm assuming the government money is kind of drying up right now because we're going. Even though we're making cuts, the debt is increasing like tremendously and all that stuff. So I'm assuming a lot of the government funding is drying up or at least temporarily drying up. And then you have corporations and individuals supplying money. And is it they don't do it as good at Hearts, do it? I mean, I'm just being negative here in my outlook on humanity. They're doing it for some kind of self-serving reasons, no? Or
they do. Individuals give because it makes them feel good. That's why individuals give. Period.
Wow.
100. I give to 6 to 8 nonprofits a year because it makes me feel good. I give to my college. I give to some medical. I give to some organizations that resonate with me. And so I do that because it makes me feel good to write that check, even though it's a credit card.
Wow.
Corporations do it for
I'd
PR.
love to make you feel wonderful. I will write me a check.
I'm in a wheelchair. I count as a charity. I think if you want to write me a check, you'll feel great.
When individuals come to me and say, well, I can make you feel good, I look askance. I'm like,
I would too. I would too. Because sometimes that involves a videotape and.
I don't know, man. You're a good looking fella. Are you sure it's always a monetary thing when they say I can make you feel good? No, Matt. No, this isn't an Ace Hardware parking lot.
What I would say is read the book and you'll understand.
So, Ken, I have a question for you quick. I have a friend who, a couple of friends who work with tribes, and they're providing solar energy to some of the tribes where they don't have energy and stuff. So would you be working with the people that supply the solar energy, or would you be working with the tribes so that they could get the money so that they can afford, let's say, the infrastructure to, have the solar energy? Or would it be whoever's asking for the funds?
So we work with a client, whether it's a tribe or a nonprofit. And what they're doing is they're looking for funding to do a program or project. And so they'll come to me and say, hey, I have a water infrastructure project. I need $5 million. Can you help me find $5 million? And then write the request. And then they'll either get it or not get it. We did one for broadband up in Alaska. It was $39 million and they got it. So, it's depending on the client, depending on what they want, but they have to come with a need. What the government says is we will fulfill this need because we've indicated, Department of Energy, Department of Interior, whoever it may be, that we were going to put out an X amount of dollars into the community as a whole to provide a solution to a problem. It's always a solution to a problem.
This is interesting now because to me, and I want to come back to the idea of sustainable funding and what that actually means. But where did you begin to get this? I mean, can anybody learn to do this? Is there an academic course about funding? I mean, where do you get the expertise that you have for this?
I learned predominantly on the job. So I had to do a little background so you'll get an understanding of who I am and how I got into this field.
Yeah, please.
So 1962, I was born. My mother was a white teenage runaway prostitute. My dad was a pimp and a drug dealer in New York.
Wow.
I did 6 years of foster homes. And then I was adopted by Irene and Sam Miller. That's in New York. And then when I was age 12, I moved to Alaska. So I grew up in Alaska, high school. I was a National Merit Scholar. I was accepted to Harvard. I went to Dartmouth College, got my degree, but unfortunately I graduated with a degree in fraternity with a minor in drinking.
Yeah.
So within 2 years, I literally was homeless on the streets with my Ivy League education. I was to remain homeless for about 20 years. I'm a 3-time convicted felon, did many years behind bars. So when I got out in 2007, after my 3rd felony conviction and 3rd time I'd been to the prison, I had no skills. Even though I've always told people I've been in sales my whole life, legal and illegal, but I've been in sales, okay? I can sell. I sold a bunch of things on the streets that you can probably guess at. And so when I got out, I didn't have any skills, and I was fortunate to run into a position as a development director, fundraiser at a soup kitchen. And that's where I got my start in 2010. I fell into it like a duck to water, loved it, and taught myself. Now I teach all over the country. I teach fundraising all over the country. I'm very, very good at what I do. And I do, again, just put out a book. A lot of I've skipped, but I put out the book talking about going from the Ivy Leagues to 20 years on the streets homeless to 3 times in the penitentiary, and then coming back from that to be able to be on your show today. Coming up on 21 years clean and sober.
Very good. Congratulations on that.
Thank
But I'm just trying to
Congrats,
picture in my head. You didn't fit in at Dartmouth, did you? I mean, maybe you did. I just
no, I didn't. I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't fit in.
But
let me tell you why. Yeah, but let me tell you why I didn't fit in. Because first of all, I was damaged as a child. Literally, the way I looked at the world, I was damaged. I went to college when I was 17 years old. Okay, I'm a National Merit Scholar, 17 years old. Academically, I can handle, but I didn't have the maturity at age 17 to deal with life. And plus, I was just weird. I mean, I came to my man Jamie, but whatever may understand this, but I came in 1980 to Dartmouth College from Alaska. I grew up on heavy metal music. Okay, my first album was Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. Okay, and I'm listening to Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Black Sabbath, and I had a Jerry curl, and the Jerry curl went out 2 years before in the East Coast. I didn't know that, so I go there, and I'm doing. They didn't know what box to put me into because I got this black kid from Alaska, young, immature, had never been with a woman. I mean, I was square, and I made up for lost time. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Did you ever find that 8th grade girlfriend again? Look her up. Go, hey, no, that's it.
No. It's not like there's no social media. There's no phone calls. I was scared of girls anyway. So
not to dwell on this, but so now you go from being an Ivy League grad to prison, and I'm thinking there's probably because there's two sets. Generally, Ivy League grads, if they go to prison or they go to the special day camp prison or whatever, but you went to a real prison. You probably did not fit in there either.
Right. So you have three levels to prison, usually. And all prisons, if it's not the federal system, I'm in the state system. I'm in the Washington system, and I'm in the Nevada system. And so there's minimum, which could also be camp. You can have like fire camps. Minimum, medium, max. Okay, those are your 3 levels. I'm medium because I have an escape on my records. It's a whole nother story, but I have an escape on my records. So I always go medium, even though I'm a nice guy when I'm clean and sober. On the streets, I wasn't a nice person. Wow. But in penitentiary, I am. I have no tattoos. So even in the penitentiary, I'm a little different. Well, I'm very different because most of the individuals that are in the penitentiary at a medium and maximum, they're there for a good reason. And they have a background where they're either gang affiliated, a lot of criminal activity. The best way to describe me is I'm a drug addict that does crime. I'm not a criminal that just does drugs on the side. There's a big difference in that. So yeah, I had many experiences. It sometimes was difficult because I can fake the funk for a minute, okay, in different environments. But after a while, people will see through it, especially street people. You're not one of us.
Yeah.
So that means I can't trust you. Okay.
I have a question for you real quick. Sure. And this is just so that Matt and Stephen know this. This is not about my mom, but my mom is in the story. Okay. Now, Ken, I'm just asking. I'm just suspecting that your IQ is of genius level, but nobody knew it, and nobody knew how to handle it, and that's part of what led to the drugs because you didn't. I'm just seeing because I've seen that in my family. When I was a kid, my mother says, well, you're not the only genius in the family. And she showed me 2 of my cousins that were also geniuses, but they were also drug addicts and strung out. And they just we didn't have the resources in the city of Baltimore at the time back then to help them understand why their brain worked at such a high pace and give them that outlet. And so I was just curious, was that the same with you?
No.
No, thank you.
And I'm not saying that in a pejorative or negative
way.
No,
and I don't take it that way.
I'm a very, very strong believer, and there is no such, for me at least, there's no such thing as antecedents. The reason that I'm a drug addict wasn't because my dad beat me. It wasn't because my dad shot my mom 6 times. It wasn't because I was nearly raped by another man in a situation. That's not why I'm a drug addict. I'm a drug addict because of the way my brain deals with any type of chemical that takes me out of reality. I don't have an off switch. I don't have an off switch when it comes to drinking or drugs. So once I begin, I don't have the capability to say 2's enough, or 1 rock of crack cocaine is enough, or 1 shot of methamphetamine is enough. I can't do that. I literally can't. I go until the wheels fall off or I run out of drugs. Now, remember, a lot of people say the criminal behavior isn't on drugs. It's looking for more money to get drugs. Okay, that's where my criminal behavior predominantly happened. But I'm not a big one on there's a prior reason. I'm in a fraternity at Dartmouth College. I have 70 brothers. I did cocaine with 69 of them. I did coke. Back in those days, it was powder cocaine. Okay, I did that. This is Ivy League.
Well, I did 69 with one of them. So,
but only let's say 5 or 10 of us became addicts and alcoholics. You see the difference?
Yeah.
I took my first drink October of 1980. First drink. Within 2 months, I'm a full-blown alcoholic. I cannot control the amount that I will drink once I get started. Cannot. And I'm a full-blown alcoholic within 2 months of my first drink. So I really had very little to do, because a lot of the stuff, say, oh, I would have drank too if I had this situation happen to. No, you wouldn't have drank alcoholic. You might have had a drink. But that's who I am. And I'm very, very strong on that, on that opinion.
Now, I understand a biological predisposition to addiction. I was just curious about the initial reason for going to the drugs, not becoming an addict.
The initial reason is this. In college, we drink. It's called fraternity. Yeah. It's called partying.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know. The last thing I wanted to do was become an alcoholic. My dad's an alcoholic. Right. Why would I want to become an alcoholic? I saw what it turned him into under the influence of alcohol. He beat the hell out of me. He shot my mom. He came to shoot me.
This is one thing I am an expert in. The initial reason was the times. The times everybody drugs and alcohol.
Everybody still do. Why did I do cocaine?
Yeah.
Because remember, cocaine in 1980, 81 was not addictive. At least that's what we were told.
Yeah, that's right.
Until Belushi and Lenny Bias, it was not addictive. Powder cocaine. It was cool. That's disco, bro.
Right. So you mentioned a book, and I could not even find the book, so I have DenaliFSP.com in the description, and it's scrolling across the bottom. I'm assuming that's the book behind you on the wall there. Becoming, is that it?
Becoming Ken.
Okay.
And it's becoming Ken. Instead of a lot of it had to do with my identity. Who was I? I'm the addict. That's how I identify it. I'm a criminal. I'm less than. I just wanted to become Ken, and that's who I am today. I'm a kind and gentle person. That's who I am today. I just give back. I give back. I've been very successful. I own 5 businesses. My life is beautiful. Beautiful. I want to listen to you. Make sure they hear that. But this is how I
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another question then, because
quite often when someone... It just sounds like it was well-earned and hard fought, so.
You and your little bandwidth thing. Popping in, popping out.
One question I have then also, usually if someone has an addiction and they've been clean for a while, something else replaces that addiction, because they're not just, so is your success now your new addiction?
No, that's a choice. That's a value choice or moral choice. I don't have to. What I do to give back, my predominant things, I always tell people, we talk about vertical alignment. My number 1 thing is God. My number 2 thing is my wife. My number 3 thing is helping young Black men. And I've been mentoring for 15 years. I've been speaking to them. I go to prisons. I've gone to juveniles to work with young Black men because I know what it's like not to have a father figure or an older Black male that you can counsel with or be mentored by. The reason I wrote the book is so I could get on more stages to expose a message of hope and resilience to individuals of any color. But my passion is working with young Black men. And when I say young, anything under 50 is young.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm curious about, again, how you get started here. You mentioned sales. It's all sales. Is fundraising you're just selling the grant or the opportunity to invest? Is basically what it breaks down to? And how did you said you learned on the job? What was the job? Was it selling something? I mean, it's confusing.
It's asking, it's just asking. There's only two groups of places money comes from: individuals and organizations. So my job is what we call making the ask. And what I did was I would ask them to support us. This is what we do. Would you be willing to support out of your largesse, out of your funds, whether you're an individual, a family, a couple, or an organization, corporation, foundation, or governmental grant, support what we do? What we did is we provided day shelter. It was called Beans Cafe up in Alaska. And we provided day shelter and we fed hungry adults and hungry children in Anchorage, Alaska. And so I would make the ask, and I did, like I said, my background is sales. Okay. I sold women, I sold drugs, and now I'm selling a dream or selling a concept of you can help feed and shelter individuals in need, both adults and children. And it was easy. For me, it was easy.
Tell me about, because sustainable, I'm just thinking if I were Bill Gates or one of these guys who was a philanthropist, and I'm thinking sustainable funding to me is show me that after I give you seed money to get this thing started, you're you're not going to come back to me every year, or every 6 months and say, I need more money. I need more money. What is the true meaning of sustainable funding?
Well, we call it sustainable fundraising. Sustainable fundraising is having vehicles or channels of income from myriad resources or different channels that make the organization sustainable. Okay.
Right.
So what it means is and it's predominantly what they're talking about is individual donations, because corporations and grants are not sustainable. They will end the grant. And unfortunately, a lot of nonprofits are finding that out right now as we speak, because the government is saying, no, we're going to stop future grants. We may even ask for our money back. It's called clawback. And now these organizations do not have sustainable fundraising because they don't have 5,000 individual donors. You have 5,000 individual donors. One says buy, no biggie. Okay. Yeah. But when you have one funder called U.S. government and the U.S. government says buy, you got a problem. So you still got expenses.
Yeah. It just seems to me like it should be sustainable. And I'm probably thinking of this from a startup perspective. I'm going to start a business. I need some seed money to get started. But if I don't have a plan to make it profitable or sustainable on its own, that's a quick rejection, right? Wouldn't they spot? So you don't even get the original grant if it's not sustainable right from the beginning.
Well, they'll ask you that many times in the grant application. How is it going to be sustainable after? Because the funding is usually from 1 to 3 years. That's what the government does. How is this program going to be sustainable? We give you money to start a new project to do rural dental delivery in the bush of Alaska. That's what we call it, the bush. Out in the rural areas of Alaska to the villages. How are you going to make this sustainable 3 years later? And we'll state something that we'll begin working with individual donors. We're going to do more small foundation grants, but we will continue this to be sustainable by increasing, especially our individual donors. So that's how they do it.
Now, a dreamer will come to you with an idea and say, "I need it to be funded." But generally, dreamers are friggin' broke from the start, right? So they have to invest they have to pay you first. They have to come up with the funding to pay you.
Right. we're not inexpensive. Our bottom number is $4,500 a month. That's our lowest.
Wow.
And so one of the main things that I do, just by the nature of who I am, is I tell people no, not even me. Nobody else is going to write a grant for you.
Yeah.
You have no track history. You have no financials. Why would I give you $1 million when you have nothing to back up that you've been able to do what you say you're going to do within the community? Why?
Right.
So what I'm telling you is you need to start a lot smaller, or you need to come up with a different idea. But I would recommend that you start a lot smaller. So I do this.
That's where I was going to go. Your rejection rate must be over 90%, right? Or extremely high.
It's extremely high when it's unsolicited.
Yeah.
So we know. So there's 550 tribes, approximately, in the United States. We email them every month saying, here's our services. We have maybe 8 to 10 that are on contract as we speak. We've probably worked with another 20 over the years. And those are viable because we know what grants are out there. My wife's been doing it for 25 years, right? She's Alaska Native. So she's been writing these grants for 25 years. So we've probably written it. And we know what's out there, but that's
the next part of that. I just threw out an arbitrary, made-up number about your rejections. What is the number now after you handle it for them? Is there a rejection acceptance rate that you? And what is that number?
Sure. So I know 2 years ago, I got my 2-year number. We wrote 19 grants. We got awarded 17, which is phenomenal. That's unusual. Let me put it this way. Most of the time, we won't write the grant unless we think you're going to get it, that you have a chance to get it. But so somebody will come to us and they say, hey, we want to do the NTIA broadband grant. Okay, great. National Telecommunications Information Act. Broadband grant. And $6 million. And I'll look at them and say, they're going to give out 7 in the whole country. You've never done a grant with them. You've never worked with NTIA. Your chances are less than average. You sure you want to do this? Because we'll write it, but your chances are less than average. And we tell them out front. But most of the time, they have a good chance because we look at what they call a NOFO, Notice of Funding Opportunity, and we understand how to read one and understand with their background, their chances are good. And again, we've been very, very successful. We've been very, very successful. So if I was to give you this a round number, I would be happy if we could do 2 out of 3 that we would get awarded. And probably that's our average. Yeah, that's not 66. Yeah.
All right. So now, but this is a gamble, right? Because you talked about because your is not refundable if you don't get it. We still keep the money.
No, it's called speculative grant writing.
Yes.
You're going to pay us. Let's say we usually do 3-month contracts, so you'll pay us $5,500 a month for 3 months. We'll find the grants, we'll write the grants, and then if we are successful, you've gotten millions of dollars. And within the millions of dollars, this thing called an indirect rate. And so you can take 5%, 10%, and you can use it for technical advisement, TA, we call it. And you can pay us out of literally that. But that's later on if you get it. Or you can continue working with us because we will then do the grant reporting and grant. We can do the grant administration. We can do the closeout reports.
Right.
So the key component, it's speculative. But they know that. We all know how. It's not even a game because it's not a game. These are people's jobs. These are their ability to do things within their tribal region or within the members of their organization, do positive things for them. Fix the wastewater, fix the water, do solar panels, do a new building. I've gotten health clinics, all kinds of things that are positive. That's a beautiful when you get to see a building you help build.
Yeah, that's
a good grant.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna focus on the reverse and negative side of this, though, because on my evening program, there is Fundwise Capital, who talks about startup funding for people if you just got an idea and whatever, and you don't have to have good credit for it. And the amount of people that apply for that, because that gets people hopeful and optimistic, and then they get shot down. You must see a lot of people, even if it's 1/3 or less than 1/3 of the people who invested, or they went and got money to hire a guy to do the grant stuff, and then it just doesn't work out. Their dreams have been shattered now, and then they're a little bit in the hole because they had to go prostitute themselves to get money to pay you. That would kill me. That would kill my soul. Like, I'm just killing people's dreams, because the most people who apply for like Fundwise Capital, they have no credit score. They have no, their credit score is 200.
That's a completely different world.
Yeah,
they're talking about individuals who have a dream, individuals that sometimes for greed, because they think they can make a lot of money if they get this startup capital. Right. But most of them have an idea, dream, and they're looking for startup. They're looking for, funding to get their business, for-profit business, off the ground. That's a whole nother world than an entity or organization. They're in this world. Okay. They know that this is how we do funding. It's the question they usually are asking: are we going to have internal grant writers, or are we going to have external grant writers? Right. So you come to me, $15,000. After the end of the 3 months, if you're not happy, we move on. Most of our contracts now are annual because we do such good work for our clients. They have annual contracts, but we're a lot cheaper than having a staff member at $70,000, $60,000 plus benefit and burden. So now you're looking at $100,000. You're looking at $100,000, and it's a lot harder to let go of someone who's a staff member and the benefits and burdens of having that person. We're external. We're under contract. All we are is contractors, and the contractor is someone. And but the beautiful thing is, so remember, I'm not just writing one grant. I mean, I got clients right now as we speak. I got 3 and 4 grants that I'm writing, and our chances of getting 1, 2, or 3 of them are good, because again, I wouldn't write the grant unless I thought that there was a chance, a pretty good chance that we would get it. A lot of times I say, hey, these two, and then there's grants out there in the tribal world that 100% you're going to get. You just got to do the application. That's the way the grants are set up.
You should work with the Pushpa. They have a need for fund.
But they can't write the grant. The clients, they don't know how to. I mean, if I showed you a federal grant, a lot of times the notice of funding opportunity is 80 to 90 pages. I've written grants that are 30 to 40 pages long. I've known grants that are 200 pages.
Yeah, I have friends in that world, and it's daunting. It's a daunting task. And then you realize why. Well, you was talking about your success rate of getting grants and stuff, and you kind of remind me of a federal prosecutors. Like, I'm not taking a case unless I know I'm going to win it.
That says, definitely.
Well, on that note, do you is there like a prerequisite sheet? We want to make sure before you even come to me, here's a list of things, the ducks you got to get in a row. Do you have that available for people?
Of course. I'm a big checklist type of person.
All right.
So I don't do that before. Once they engage with us, I send them a list of the things we need. We need a tribal resolution. We need the information, what we call the SF-424, every federal grant. This is the information, who's the contact person, what's your EIN, all that stuff. So I have that. We have a checklist. And then depending on the grant, they're going to need specific information. Every grant, federal grant, has 2 main components: the program or project narrative, and then the budget and budget narrative. Those are your 2 components. What are you going to do to solve for this problem? And then how are you going to do it, or what are the finances? Because that's what you're coming to us for, is the financial. And we need to know that financial information. We call it a budget and budget narrative. That's every grant.
how long, and I know it's probably different, but every time I've worked with the government or large corporations, nothing moves quickly. The wheels move very slowly. How long a process is this generally, like before you know if you've been accepted or not?
Well, usually the RFP or notice of funding opportunities open for 60 days, sometimes 90. At the end of that, they'll make a determination, usually within 2 to 3 months. They got to look at their budget. They got to look at how much money the Congress has given to them, because it's always within a parameter of one of the 13 budgets that are presented to the president to sign off on. So let's take an example, Department of Energy. They'll get a budget of, $240 billion for their budget for that department. And then within that, they'll have the grant money available. And then once they've made that determination, they approve your grant. And not everybody, of course, gets approved, but you wrote a good grant application. Then it usually will be anywhere between 3 to 6 months after it's been approved that you can do one of two things. They'll cut you a check for the amount, or probably more common, it'll be a reimbursable. You say, these are my expenses, direct and indirect, and we want to draw down from the million you've awarded us. And we draw down over a year period, or usually up to a 3-year period.
Wow. I'm not sure how to phrase this question. I'm trying to work it out in my head. But when I look at the way the government is set up in general, when there's grant money available, quite often it's people that are close to the people who hand out the grants that get the money first. You know what I'm saying? So like if the Department of Energy, let's say, has like $1 billion available for grant money, probably half of that billion is already going to be given to their friends who have their nonprofits or their things. It's almost, so I'm just saying, of that pie, how much is actually available to the public and not just to friends of senators or the people who are making the decisions?
So you're mixing up two things. There's two different things we're talking about here.
Okay.
When we're talking about just a normal grant, most of the time we don't even know the feds. We don't know. We have a program manager that we deal with. Then there's something called CDS or CDF. That's what you're talking about. That's called PORC. That's Congressional Directed Funding, or Congressional Directed Spending. They used to call it PORC. And
they still call it pork. They don't like to call it pork, but they still
term because it looks like it's negative. So what happens is each senator and representative has an amount that they can distribute to, if they so choose, to distribute to their constituents.
Right.
State of Alaska, there's 2 senators. Senator Murkowski gives millions of dollars to nonprofits through the Congressional Directed Funding. Senator, I believe Senator, there's another senator. That's how literally I don't know him. He gives 0. He doesn't believe it because he's a Republican that doesn't believe that there should be like pork.
Well, Murkowski was a Republican until Trump got his claws in the door.
Right. They call them rhinos. But but she's been phenomenal for the state of Alaska. And I've worked with her office numerous times. She has a grant application, and then they do it on our behalf. They'll send it to the different departments because they got to go through appropriations, and then bring. But that's pork, so that's a little different. The other one, it's hey, do your best. The only thing that can make a difference is if you're a prior recipient. So your organization has been getting it for 5 years, and you put it back in. There's a very good chance you'll go higher up on the list, because you've done it well, you've done your reporting well, you've probably been in communication, and they know who you are, and there's a trust factor there because you've been doing the same grant for 5-10 years.
Okay, now the book Becoming Ken.
The other senator is Dan Sullivan.
the book Becoming Ken. I could not. I didn't even know what the title of the book was, but based on the calendar stuff, so I couldn't find it. I went to Denali SP. Now the book's not available there. Where is it available? Is it on like
Amazon?
Okay.
Amazon. You can go just becomingken.com.
Yeah, I will put it in the description. I didn't even know the title of it. So we will do that for you. It's Becoming Ken. It's available now. And Denali FSP. Is there a reason you don't link to it from the Denali side? I would think it would make sense. It's part of the business plan, right? Or not?
The book?
Yeah.
No, the book has nothing to do with Denali.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I mean, remember what I said about Kodak?
Yeah.
Right.
Denali is what I do to support my family.
Right.
I just happen to be a grant writer and consultant for nonprofits.
I hear you, but it just seems to me this book about you and your life it's a great way to get people interested in your business if they need whatever. What do I know? Obviously, if I knew anything, I wouldn't be here doing this.
No, and it isn't. I speak from the stage. I speak in front of thousands of people. And what it's more for is my speaking business. When I say I have 5 businesses.
Okay.
So it's for my speaking business. And the main reason I wrote it is because I've had 100 people, 1,000 people say, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I just skim.
We have to move along. Thank you for being here. And I know it's very early. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning over there on that left coast or whatever. It's very early for you. 2 o'clock in the morning is an exaggeration. But thank you for being here. It's interesting stuff. Now you killed my dream because I was hoping to get some funding. But, all right.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day. Bye for now. All right. It's time to move along. Our next guest is here and ready to come in. He's been here and he's going to explain what that means because I don't know what been here means. Let me just put that should give you an idea of who I'm talking about. My next guest is a thespian, an actor of great acclaim. He's in a new series on Amazon. I believe it's called the Sister That Swallows or the Slutty Sister or something like that. Which I'm very interested in. And also maybe he has some acting tips for me because I'm a thespian and I'm going to be performing tonight.
A lesbian?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program. The Emmy award-winning actor and thespian, Jackie the Joke Man, Martley. Good morning.
Yeah, I was a little late today because I was cleaning off my mantle for my Emmy.
Really?
No, what happened was I've been sitting here. We have our air conditioner for the 3rd year in a row. These things just don't work. And I've been waiting on a callback from PC Richards for 2 days. So, of course, when did they return the call? Just as I sat down to go on the air with you.
Right.
So I was on and she said, can I put you on a brief hold? And I'm like, holy Christ, I could be here the rest. But once you get, it's like landing a fish. Once you get those people on the phone, it's like the hell with Napo and the guys.
I know.
But,
well, it gave GD opportunity to ask for long-winded answers to questions that made no sense to anybody anyway. So it was like, let's take a pill.
I have to earn my pay, Matt. That's what you pay me to do.
I don't pay quite enough for that. But we're doing
well. The bottom line is, it's the name of the show is The Whore That Came In From Out of the Cold. No, it's the better. It's called The Better Sister, and it's a great murder mystery, and all eight episodes are up on Amazon Prime. And all my friends keep asking me, what episode are you in? And I won't tell them because I want them to watch the show.
So they released all 8 at once? Because that's crazy. That's not the way TV used to work.
Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. I think it's great. Some people like to wait a week for each episode. But this is great. You just watch one after the other, and it's,
Yeah.
Yep.
And that way you don't lose.
That's the way to do it, man. Like being able to sit down. Exactly. Being able to binge watch like a series, that's my favorite thing. Yeah.
You say sit down like you weren't sitting down to begin with.
But that is fair, 100%. That's fair.
Now, when you say whore that came in from the cold, if I were a classless loser like I am, I would have said, "Well, that sounds like Ken's mother." The guy who was here previously, his mother was a prostitute, and they lived in Alaska. So it just ties into the whore.
Say that again.
The guy who you said the whore that came in from the cold. The previous guest, his mother was a prostitute in Alaska.
In Alaska?
No, she was a prostitute in New York. In New York.
But then he moved to Alaska, right?
No, his mother didn't move to Alaska. The people that adopted him moved to Alaska. His mother is still in New York.
I'm wrong.
If you're going to be a whore in Alaska, what do you go from client to client by dog sled?
Oh, I would think there's a lot of work for whores in Alaska. The pipeline workers come with the cash, you know.
His
pipeline workers. That's another
his mother,
name for
the
a
prostitute, still lived in New York. He got adopted, and that family.
I get it. I was wrong. We established the fact that I don't know I don't listen well, but in Alaska, obviously, you could fuck a polar bear, you could fuck a seal, or you could get like a prostitute, right? So.
Yeah, and it's a lot closer than you think. A lot of people prefer the polar bear.
Right.
Imagine the process. The hell with that. Listen. Plug my show. That's the important thing.
Well, I was going to come to your show next week at McGuire's, and then I just found out I'm not allowed to. I have my stepdaughter's engagement party. Like, what the one? Like, I want to go to Jackie's the comedy show. It's closed.
I swear to God, I'll have nothing to do for 2 months, and then I have 3 things to do on the same night. It's pretty frustrating, know. But it's a shame you can't be there, but the good news is I'm going to be there with Peter Bales, June 14th, 7 p.m. at
McGuire's.
June 14th at McGuire's, and that's also the day of the huge protests. So,
Flag Day, right? And it's going to be like a military parade or some nonsense.
Well, but the whole world is protesting against that at the Nassau.
Wow.
What's it? The courthouse. It's a nationwide. It's just such what a mess.
Yeah.
But, every morning you get up. You talk about a sitcom. That's one thing they're not exposing everything. They're spoon feeding that one thing at a time. Every time you turn on the TV, it's another ridiculous.
The United States of America is like the worst soap opera with a bad comedy twist to it. It's like, and it's I know that it's entertainment to a lot of people. People are taking this like, oh, it's great. Musk and Trump are fighting, but to me, there's some danger in the guys with all the access to nuclear codes and secret information and all this kind of stuff, pulling hair and being mean girls in the cafeteria and just letting it go on.
Yeah, people are saying, oh, wow, this is the Musk thing and the Trump thing and all this. They're all talking about how they all have popcorn and they're all watching TV with popcorn. Like, we're talking about the end of the goddamn world. These 2 monsters that have more power.
I welcome it.
The guy's got the nuclear codes, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, exactly. And the other guy has back doors to all the sensitive NSA information, all those computers that have very vital information on it.
And so he's got all those guys. Musk has got all those guys from Doge out there doing all the horrible stuff they're doing. They just said now that they might all get arrested for being enemies of the government. It's. If somebody brought this script into a movie company, they get thrown out the window for being too crazy,
Yeah, exactly.
I know people like the show Veep. The show Veep at one point was, and this is before Trump was. When Veep was on the air, they were doing things that was what they thought was crazy, and then they'd have senators saying, "No, that is what it's like. It's even worse. It's even worse."
Yeah. House of Cards. House of Cards was like that too. Like Bill Clinton was stated that watching House of Cards, he was like, "That's pretty much exactly what being the president's like. The backroom deals, the stairwell meetings, just."
Was there a lot of blowjobs in House of Cards? Because I never watched the show, but it seemed like
there was a lot of blowjobs in House of Cards. A lot of hookers, a lot of murders, a lot of backdoor deals, and just a whole lot of dark shit. Man.
I'm getting one right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to shake.
How is that possible? I'm here. I'm not there.
Corey Stoll, the guy the guy that's in one of the scenes I'm in is from House of Cards and Billions, and he's a brilliant actor. There's so many red herrings in this show. It's really interesting, and they just got picked up for season 2.
Now, is your house listed in like an actors directory? Like your house is like this was the houses you're into all these productions, right? They just love your house, and your house is like the go-to house for anybody who's got a television show who needs a house on a beach on the North Shore of Long Island.
Well, they come here a lot. This is the 5th time, but there's no real listing. You know, it's a very it's a huge industry, TV and movies. But in reality, it's much small. They all talk to each other. You know, hey, you use this house. What house did you use? You know, so I'm in the mix. You know, they came from Royal Pains. They came to look at my house 5 times for Royal Pains, and they never used it. But they were here so often that they invited me to the wrap party.
Take a picture. You don't have to keep coming back.
That's awesome.
And meanwhile, they've got thousands of pictures of this house, and you know, but it's interesting. And the woman that hired me,
that's awesome,
who was the creator, is Olivia Milch, and her father is David Milch, who created Deadwood. So it was a really fun combination.
Didn't he want to put you in Deadwood or something in the beginning? I thought that was
not put me in it. When I was out at the set of Deadwood, he was there, and he's a huge Stern fan, and he loved my jokes too. And he said, "Do you want to strap on a 6-gun?" Which meant, you know, do you want to put on a gun and a cowboy outfit and stand there and be in the bar? And I said no, because I was with my friends and I didn't want to hold them. I was just telling people yesterday.
I thought you said strap on or 6-gun. I would have said I'll take the 6-gun.
Now that's funny. God, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? That was great.
I don't know. It was accidental.
I would kill to have a picture of me in a 6-gun and a cowboy outfit leaning on the bar. Yeah. Oh, I could die and go to heaven. Cowboys and Indians, you know.
Yeah. No, there's a joke because I put together a tribute to stand-up comedy, and you're in it. I'm just showing all these comedians that I love, and you're in it, of course. It's a song You Gotta Laugh, and it's just a celebration of stand-up comedy. But you're the only one that ever even speaks in the clip. It's just a little thing from your Gotham thing, and you told a joke at the end, if you don't mind them, because you know you're not going to tell these jokes on June 14th. The one you said, the woman goes to a doctor's office, and the doctor says you have acute vaginitis, and she says, "Oh, thank you." Right? Wasn't it supposed to be angina? You have acute angina, or because I think you say vaginitis, and I'm like,
no, acute angina is the little old lady that goes in. It's her heart. She's having trouble with her heart.
Oh,
and she says to her husband, the doctor says, "I have acute angina." And her husband says, "Well, that's good because your tits are a mess." That's a different joke. It's the same idea. It's the same. Right. It's the same medical, premise.
Now, my wife came in. She told me a joke. She heard it once. She said it's totally inappropriate. I would never tell this joke, but it was like, what did Cinderella say right before she got to the ball? And then she told me with the punchline. I gotta see if Jackie knows this, because he knows every joke in the world. She goes, "Jackie who? Jackie the fucking joke man. That's who." But so I texted you that, and I was like, he's not gonna get this. And then you texted me back the exact, which I was like, I couldn't believe you even spelled that out. Well, I was proud at that moment. I was like, I stumped the fucking joke man, and then I said, "Nah, he's probably just watching the television show."
No, that's it. I've been trying to spell that punchline for 40 years.
I had the same. I had that as a punchline, and I had troubles trying to spell it out too. My wife is walking by my office. I'm going.
We're all going to hell. We're all going to hell.
I know it.
Yep.
I know.
At least it's warm.
Yeah. So I've been trying to stir up controversy. I told you in the past that Warren Green, the program director at NYG, called me a Howard Stern wannabe and then said, "You're not cut out to be a shock jock." And apparently I discovered that he's absolutely right, because I've been trying to stir up controversy.
Wait a minute. Wait. Tell me who it is. The program director
For WNYG, which was 1440, which was the AM side of BAB back in the day when I was on there. And
wasn't that WGBB?
GBB later, after NYG and BAB split, they've got GBB.
WTF?
I was on GBB for all of 2 episodes, but 1 week. I taped them both in 1 week, and then
don't they have like 4 listeners?
Yeah. I think I was lucky to have 4, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, so he told me I wasn't a good shock jock, and it took till last week or this week for me to acknowledge that he was absolutely right, and I shouldn't have been hurt by that, because even with controversy going on and hate, the hate is this: there's a couple of podcasts out there who hate GD. They bring up his special and they tear it apart. And I was trying to start a war with that. I couldn't parlay it into any kind of monetization or new viewers or anything. And I'm a failed shock jock, definitely. I don't know how to turn controversy into hate. So I'm really, because you work for the king of how to do that. I mean, Howard could smell controversy and say, yes, this is good, let's keep milking this. Was it ever like a spoken thing, like let's stir up some shit about this?
No, and it was so funny that because there were things that happened, they became like, are you going to believe me, or are you going to believe your lying eyes?
Yeah,
because there was a point where, who was the Mexican singer that died? Selena?
Yes.
Years ago, 40 years ago, I think Selena. She died.
I think Jennifer Lopez played her in the movie.
Yeah, something like that. And she had died, and I guess there was a line a mile long of all the Mexicans or the Spanish people, whoever were, to view her in their coffin. and I even wrote the joke. I said that and they're all so hungry, they all took a bite as they went by. And then everybody at the place, the Spanish world exploded, and it was like, no, I never said that. He never said that. No, you're crazy. You're making that up. And I'm sitting there like, I wrote it. I heard him say, but deny. But that wasn't it wasn't in advance. Like, hey, let's stir up some controversy with the Spanish people.
Right.
That just kind of, stumbled across, and I just wrote a stupid joke. You never know,
Jackie, do you think the way she died made a difference, because she was actually murdered, and you think if she just died in a car accident, the joke would have been funnier?
I don't know. If you're the one that bites her and actually gets the bullet, I guess you win. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just messing around, because I thought it was funny, no matter how she died. I thought it was funny.
Wait, now I'm confused. How did she?
She was murdered. She was killed. She was murdered.
Oh, well, yeah, but of course it's not funny, and it was never funny. It was just something stupid in passing. The things that happen on that show and in life, they happen so fast. Here today, gone tomorrow. There wasn't 5 minutes of that show that if you took it and examined it, you'd be repulsed.
Right.
We
weren't thinking that everybody was taping, because there are so many bootleg tapes of the Stern Show. Obviously, there were dudes in middle school or whatever who were fans of the show who taped everything on cassette tape and have every Howard Stern episode ever, and can come back and say, yeah, you did say that. Yeah, we got the tape of it.
What's really great, or I know not so great, is if somebody told me the date of that show, I could find that joke.
I know.
It's in my mother's attic. I mean, I got to actually have somebody there's a couple from San Francisco that want to buy all the notes. But right. I keep telling them, you have no idea what a logistical nightmare it is. I'm talking about 15 years of 5 days a week, even with all the vacation, there's so much. There is so much. And once in a while, I just go, you know what? The other day I was plodding through and I just found this. I'm going to reach this.
What is it? Oh.
August 1989, the first fart man.
Oh, wow. That's pretty early for Fart Man. I would not, because that was before K-Rock, right? Or not? 89 was...
No, 89. We were at K-Rock. But meanwhile, Fart Man, there was a whole argument about that because I didn't know it, but that was something that had been done. Like Howard had come across that somewhere. But maybe, it's the old thing. Did he create it or did he not create it? But all he said he was going to be Fart Man. And I don't know if I wrote this as we went along, but it's so much. I am Fart Man. My magnificent cheeks will huff and puff and blast a moist fart that will leave a mist on all that is evil. I blow butt burps for the red, white, and blue, for the democracy, for freedom and ratings. I am Fart Man. My intestines cook up powerful bubbles of stench that will knock the shites across Asia and into the Pacific Ocean. My dingleberry-laden winds will destroy terrorism and give me a case of hemorrhoids that will smart for a fortnight. I am Fart Man. The world needs my ass. When I bend over and let go one of my stinky hurricanes, the dingleberries will rain on the low-life bastards who dare to cause trouble on the world stage.
Oh my goodness!
And I might have written that on the fly. But that's classic. That
is Howard Sternian poetry. That is
yeah.
Like
all right, Fortnite. What?
That needs to go in the Smithsonian.
Who knows what Fortnite means?
A fortnight is 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But I have no idea. I know. I've looked it up, but I don't remember why it's called that.
Yeah, Stanhope educated me on that on Fortnite. We had a long conversation on how he found out about Fortnite. But I don't know.
It's so antiquated. It's cool. I love shit like that.
I would have put in Fartnight. I would have changed it to Fartnight for that.
You know what? Had I thought of it, I probably would, but I was moving too fast. You know what? You should see some of these things, and you got to find them. There's so many notes, but different things like when Howard would pretend to be Ted Kennedy. Did we talk about this?
No, I never even knew he would pretend to be Ted Kennedy.
And
that's awesome.
He'd be Ted Kennedy, and I think he would use the megaphone to make it sound like it's on the phone or what. But I'd be writing like a madman. So would Fred, and Howard be like, Joni, put down the bottle, Joni, and he would go, so many times, and everybody heralded like such genius comedy, the incredible timing. And meanwhile, he was going, to give us time to think of shit to write it down and get it to him. So he's going, waiting for us to give him stuff. And that happened so many times. And I know those notes are somewhere in my thing,
Wow.
Oh, God. It's classic stuff.
Not to, because people, my Imus thing, people going to say, because Imus did Ted Kennedy while Stern was at NBC, and he did Kennedy driving off the bridge and the gurgle sounds all the time. And it was part of it. I'm just saying that this is one thing that Stern said. You know what? Imus might be there's Ted Kennedy is good fodder for jokes there. I'm just not saying.
Yeah, and this was long after Ted Kennedy was done drowning girls. This was all about when Joni was in and out of rehab.
Right.
And it was so mean. So mean-spirited,
Yeah.
But it was wild,
I just started a new channel on YouTube called Weed World. Did you grow this year? Or are you growing now? Or you know?
I officially am in the ground.
Wow. That's kind of late, right?
Yeah, later than normal. All right. Yeah, you probably can't see it.
So I would.
There's my babies.
Oh, they're small.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're like 4. Well, this was last week, so they've been for a week or week and a half. But I love it.
The question I have for you, because I've been doing a little bit of research actually on weed and how to properly grow it and cultivate it and all that stuff. It says you're supposed to keep it in a cool, dry place when you hang it upside down. You keep it in a hot, dry place, right?
No, well, it's freezing in the winter. You know, it's not hot up there. It's not freezing, but it's chilly. You know, but I never pay it. I just hang it upside down and I try and give it all away. And with any luck, I've given it all away by the time it's time to hang the next year's crop. But I can't even give it away. You know, there's pot places everywhere. Everybody has pot. I have an attic full. If you want some, come over. I'll fill up your trunk.
Oh,
I'm serious. And it's good pot. It's not that I can't get rid of it because it's not good.
I just discovered that I still had a little baggie from last time I was up on your deck there. I was on my way to a comedy show and spent a little bit of time with you. And you gave me a bag then, and I've been mixing it with the white weed. It's just an interesting little blend there of homegrown and white weed.
Now, what is white weed? I don't know what that is.
White weed, it's just exotic weed. It's you probably won't be able to see this, but it's just white colored buds. I don't know why it's not infused. It's an exotic plant. You can't see that, but
it's like little oil diamond.
Yeah.
Wow.
The oil.
Well,
the oil.
I love looking at the pot. You know, if you go through Twitter or any of those places, the pot, it's bright purple, bright red. Some of it looks like a rainbow, and I'm sure with a little bit of effort you can do that. You know,
the white weed, it's picking the right seeds and all this stuff. But this white weed is $970 an ounce in the regular dispensaries at Puspatuck. I think it's like less than $200 an ounce. So,
Jesus, I don't think I've ever bought pot in my life. You know, with me, pot was always like cocaine. If somebody else had it, I'd be glad to do it, but I didn't buy it. You know.
But you bought seeds. You bought seeds, right?
That's the one thing I did. I bought years ago. I bought a bunch of Gorilla Glue. I think I bought 20 seeds, and only half of them came up. And I actually called them or wrote to them and complained, and they sent me another 20. You know, and half of them came up, and it worked. But now all my pot is like grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren of those same 20 seeds from. But it's good pot, you know. So who cares, you know.
Now, this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but is it just as easy to grow pot as something else? I'm just curious, only because I have bird feeders, okay, and my bird feeders just like corn and stuff, and I have corn growing throughout my yard because of them shitting out the corn, and I tried to plant corn in the same yard. Just but maybe 100 feet, 200 feet away, and none of it grew. I planted 100 of corn.
It's weird how it works. I used to get my one exercise a year turning over my garden. And this year I said, you know what? It's grown too big. And so I just had my friend, my landscape friend, come over, and his guys turned over the soil and added a bunch of manure and stuff to it. And I got it. If a plant comes up on its own, it's called a volunteer. And I have one volunteer in the middle of my stupid thing that came up on its own. You know, but that's funny. It gets frustrating. But the truth of it is, nothing is easier than growing pot. It's a fucking weed.
I can't do it.
Weed.
I know, but I can't. Listen, I don't have a brown thumb. I can grow roses. I can grow stuff. I can't grow weed.
Same here. I can grow things, but I have trouble growing corn.
I'm sure it has something to do with your soil, but how could you not be able to grow? You plant seeds and nothing comes up?
It comes up cotton. Everything comes up cotton. Cotton and watermelon.
Did I ever tell you my? Did I tell you my experience with growing pot in college?
No.
No.
So I'm very excited. We're all becoming potheads. We bought our first ounce like when we were sophomores in college. Went down to Ann Arbor and copped an ounce and came back. And, in those days, like half of it was seeds and stems. And by the time you got the pot out of it, there was nothing left. But and you rolled some joints and we hid them in the music room in the dormitory. So by a couple of years later, I'm determined I'm going to grow some pot. So I got a bunch of these little, these little brown cups you can buy at the plant store, a bunch of little cups, and filled them with dirt and planted my pot and religiously watered them. And they sprouted. And I was so excited. And they got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall. And one by one, they died. And I'm like, am I that much of a drunk that I overwatered them? Or am I that much of a drunk that I forgot to water them? And then I gave up. And the next year I said, this is bullshit. I'm doing it again. And I got those little cups, filled them with dirt, planted the seeds. They all sprouted. And one by one, they died. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. And then I realized that those little cups that you buy have weed killer built into the cups. So when the roots hit the cup,
oh shit,
they all die. So what a fucking idiot. I did it twice, not once, twice.
Wow.
How great is that?
Damn. That's awful.
That sounds like something I would do.
That's a great story, but it's one of those things where it's almost like a John Belushi, where you go over and just smash your head against the wall. I'm so fucking stupid,
Yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. Just a little more on the weed thing. First of all, are you an edible guy? Do you like edibles? Do you eat edibles?
Yeah, more and more. You know what? I've been buying pot seltzer. I told you about that, right?
Yeah, pot seltzer. I want to try that too. They have it.
I finally tried it. I tried it finally.
No.
Cycling Frog.
I've tried it and it was awesome. It was so good. I don't know what the brand was, but the dispensary up here has some, and it was they had grape and peach ring flavor, and I got this peach ring seltzer, and edibles don't normally fuck me up at all. It takes a lot to do anything, but this seltzer, man, it was quick. It was a good high too. It was a good time.
It goes in quicker. It happens quicker than when you eat pot, but it still takes time. And I'm still an idiot because, it's funny. They have the Cycling Frog has 2 milligrams. They're little, like the size of a Red Bull. And they're like 2 milligrams, 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, or 20 milligrams. And now they have 50 milligrams, and that's in a 16-ounce thing, right? Now, 50 milligrams is a little stronger than a 5 milligram, right? So what I do is I take regular seltzer, and then it's almost like making a gin and tonic. You got seltzer, and you add X amount of the ass-kicking 50 milligram stuff, and it's not an exact science. So you drink some of it, and you get very pleasantly high. And you don't realize when you're watching TV, you don't realize how high you are till you get up to take a leak.
Yeah.
And you feel like a robot. But then that is one of sleep, and then I'm just stoned out.
I'm going to steal it. This is what you're stealing Stephen's act because, I'm not stealing Stephen's, but part of Stephen's act is he talks about being so high that he goes to get up and forget he can't walk.
Jesus.
Look at that. Oh, you can't see that number. That's 1,000 milligram gummies. 1,000 milligrams. And
no, wait a minute. Now that's lethal.
Right. Well, I had Annie Corson on from Seinfeld show. You remember the old bag, the Annie Corson, Doris Klumpus on Seinfeld, the recurring role. Anyway, she was on the evening program. I was at the Poospatuck that day and got these 1,000 milligrams, and I ate one, and nothing happened. And I was like, "This shit don't work." And so, right like a half hour before the show, I took another one, and then the show was starting, and I was like, "Whoa!" It's starting to hit me. And she came on, and I said, "I have a confession to make," and I started telling her I got 1,000 milligrams.
Are you high right now?
And I said, yeah, not just a little high. I'm fucking blown out. And then she's 86 years old. And I started having this discussion about, have you ever tried a gummy? Yeah, my husband gets it. And she said, I never know how much to take. And it takes so long to hit you, and you take too much. I just want to feel mellow. I don't want to get all.
It's always the same conversation. You know, a guy gave me a long time ago, gave me a baggie with about 20 little squares. They're like, like almost gumdrops, but they're square, and they're 25 milligrams each. And I've had them for like 2 or 3 years, and I still haven't eaten one. I got a phobia about this crap, but I'm not afraid of the seltzer. I keep ordering the seltzer, and then they come up with the great ones, and the best ones, I think, are the 20 milligrams. And they were like cran raspberry. They were perfect. And now they're sold out. All the greatest ones. I don't know whether that means they're making more, or whether they're sold out, or whether the police are at the door. I don't know the deal. Yeah. But the 50 milligrams is like iced tea.
Yeah,
have you tried any of the THC sodas? They're not. I don't like them because they're. No, there's seltzer, but they have like a THC soda, and it's almost like a thicker consistency, but it's supposed to be like root beer or like grape flavor, but it's
no.
It's
I think I just
They're
saw,
like
I just saw that, so it's mixed with sugar, right?
Yeah,
I
guess so.
Yeah.
That's a double high. Wow.
Because anything with sugar is going to make it race through your body a lot quicker.
Right. Well, the reason I even went here, because I know
quick,
girl,
and they're
Barbara,
like 50 milligram.
I know your girl likes to bake and stuff, and I got this thing on how to make edibles at home and make edible butter out of it. And I just thought it would be, with all your attic being what it is, it would be a good thing to make some cookies out of, or whatever she makes muffins.
And when you're cooking with pot, you need much, much less, and it doesn't have to be strong pot. I told you that my buddy over at Center Island, the guy that actually created out of the blue, created the Jackie puppet. I go over to his house, and we take all the scraps I have from the year and he puts it in cold water with ice and stirs it, and then screens it through 100 mesh and squeezes it all out, and then does it again through 400 mesh, and we wind up with this little ball that almost looks like a handball of the most concentrated pot in the world. And I'm afraid of those too. I got those in my,
Wow.
I got all this pot that that's the stuff you're supposed to kind of scrape it onto a joint,
Oh.
It's like keef or something like that,
Oh yeah.
Nice. I have a marijuana cookbook in my basement on my cookbook shelf. And the first 27 pages of the marijuana cookbook is nothing but science about the weight and the grams and stuff like that. And on page 28 is the first warning that says, "Do not cook while high."
Don't open the book while high.
It just cracked me up. The first 27, I'm reading this cookbook, and the first 27 pages is all science about how to do this and the weight of that and how this interacts with that. And then on page 28, do not attempt to cook while high.
Stop. I did something in college. Well, after I graduated college, it was like my 7th year in East Lansing. And I had these very good friends, and I had some hash, I think it was. And me and my buddy, and I think 3 girls were going to the circus. And the girls said, well, let's, they weren't potheads. Let's make some brownies to bring with us to the circus, like little kids. That's fun. So I ground up the hash, so it was very fine. And we're in my buddy's kitchen, and the girls are cooking. And I had the hash ground up in a little vial or something behind the curtain on the window ledge. And when nobody was looking, I threw it in the batter and stirred it in, so nobody had any idea. And we went to the circus, and it was a small time circus that came through Lansing, Michigan. But the Flying Wallendas were the headliners of the circus. And there were only like a couple of them left, like Carl Wallenda, the father.
The old man fell off, right?
You know, the ones that didn't die, the one died and one almost died. But I think there was like 3 of them. But their whole act is they go up there and they make it look like they're going to fall, which is just, you know, because everybody's there to see him fall. So meanwhile, we ate these brownies and we're sitting there watching this circus. And the Wallendas are up there. And of course, you could hear a fucking pin drop, right? And all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, this girl, Colleen, I'll never forget, she goes, "Can I be high?"
Wow.
She realized she was stoned.
Are you high right now?
It wasn't possible because she hadn't done anything to get high, you know. That's just great.
Wow. Yeah, they should have
But
changed the name to the Falling
That's
Wallendas.
low. That's two for you today.
Yeah, the Falling Wallendas.
That was a big deal. There was, you know, I don't know if you remember, because I was right at the height of it. I think when I was in college or high school, there was 7 of them. They made a pyramid on the wire, 7 of them.
Right.
And then and the whole thing was they did it without a net. Those fucking idiots.
I know, and that should have showed up.
Yeah, when I was in Florida, one of them was walking across the highway. I'm trying to think which one it was. I keep wanting to say Carl, but it could have been a junior or a grandson. I think it's like one of the last of the Wallendas. It was
The Last of the Wallendas. That's a movie right there. And I remember Philippe Petit. You remember Philippe Petit going in with the World Trade Center? You
know, did you see that documentary?
No. Oh, Man on a Wire, it's called, right?
I saw the movie remake. Yeah.
That won the Cannes Film Festival. The amazing thing about that, not only did the guy go between the Twin Towers on a fucking wire, but he snuck the wire. They wired it. They said it wasn't legal.
Right.
They somehow got away with putting up that fucking wire and doing it. He got arrested.
Yeah.
But how the hell do you get, you know, it's one thing to steal a box of potato chips out of a store, but how the fuck do you put up a wire between the 2 tallest buildings in the world? And, you know, holy shit.
So,
that's a great
and who's the one that tests them to make sure it's going to hold them?
They're all idiots. They're all
the logistics of that just sound like a nightmare.
My ass cheeks are just puckering up thinking about it. I'm sorry, I don't do heights real well.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me? That reminds me that Napa, you should plug my gig.
Yeah, June 14th. Now, do you have anything else coming up in June 14th at McGuire's, which is out here on the east? It's the Governor's Club, which is the furthest east. Although Governor's is doing some stuff out in the Hamptons at some theater this summer. But McGuire's Saturday, June 14th. Jackie and Peter Bales will be there.
What's Governor's doing out in the?
They got some deal with some theater out there, and they're bringing in some, you know, pretty big names. I don't remember who was on there, but they're recognizable names. Because I asked if they were doing something with Abby, because when they mentioned they were doing some theater shows, and I was like, you know, she's kind of flaky. She can tell you, but then she'll forget about you. And,
I never heard from her ever.
Yeah, she. This is.
I'm still waiting.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Everybody I brought up to her, she says, "Oh yeah, I would definitely love to do that," and doesn't follow up on anything.
But she's still producing shows. I still heard.
Chris, everybody's brother, Chris Rock's brother, Eddie Murphy's brother, all the black brothers. She's got a lot of black brothers, but not the actual guys, only the brothers of the guy.
I think she should hire my brother, which would be me.
Can I chase her down? Is there a way to chase her down?
I can give you. Do you have a phone number? Don't you? I'll send you.
I think I've called. You know, tell me what is her name?
Abby Russell.
Abby?
ABBY.
Yeah.
She hasn't got in touch with me in about a month because I think she heard me tell you that she wasn't all that pretty.
Sticks and Stones, Abby
She
Russell.
said,
Yeah.
Sticks and Stones.
What are you going to say?
She said they had no ADA compliance. They had no ADA compliance, so they couldn't hire an old guy. Is what they told me.
No, that's not true. That's
I'm
not
just kidding.
That's me.
Why do you say things that aren't
mean.
true? You know we are sticklers for the truth around here.
I know.
Now, Jackie, tonight I'm performing with your friend Tony Walker, the inventor of podcasting, at his Knock 'em Dead murder mystery show in Hicksville at the Knights of Columbus in Hicksville. And
are you going to get murdered, or are you going to take?
Yeah, I'm going to get murdered. And here's the thing: I went to a rehearsal the other night, and I said, "Can I goof up the dying?" He said, "Yeah, you take it as long as you want." Now, I didn't do it at rehearsal the other night because I'm thinking I don't want to. But I'm like, got any tips for me on how to prolong this death and make it funny? I die with a knife in my gut.
Dying is easy. The best thing is to gyrate, like do the alligator dance, like hump the air. The more you freak out, the funnier and better it is. Nothing like a good death. You don't want to just tilt your head and drool.
Here's my problem with it. I'm going to be wearing a suit, right? That's not. But when I die, I fall to the floor. There's still 20 minutes worth of dialogue going on. I got to lay there for 20 minutes dead.
I think you should get up and then fall again, like you're,
yeah,
like you're not quite dead yet.
Be like, I'm still dead.
Show, there's always people that get killed and they're lying there dead, and then as the other person's walking out the door, the dead guy pulls out his gun and manages to shoot.
I prefer to just say, "Okay, I'm out. Can I go home now?"
No, Matt, I think you should walk over or limp over to a table to one of the people they're eating and crawl up to the table and say, "Oh, you're going to finish that."
You're going to finish that?
Yeah, I'm going to finish that. And
I want to
ask for a glass of water,
Not just they have 20
These
minutes.
These are undercooked.
20 minutes of dialogue while I got to lay there. But then in murder mystery, I don't know if you guys have ever been to murder mystery, but they ask you to figure out who the person is. So I think when the cast is done, they walk out. I still have to lay there while people are figuring out. I can't just get up and walk out. I'm dead.
How many people are in this thing? You and Tony?
1, 2, 3, about 7 people. And here's the thing, because he's got this thing. He's always got to have a guy in a dress. Every single one of these things has a guy in a dress. And this is again with this one. But his other part of his thing is he's always got a very hot young lady to play my wife or my girlfriend in everything I've been in with him, which is very distracting. I mean, for me, I can't take my eyes off the girl now. I'm all distracted by looking at the girl. She's flirting with me, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is not. I can't act. I'm
Dirty old
does she wind up killing you?
No. Well, I don't know who actually kills me. I didn't get to that part. Who was actually the guilty one? Because what happens is, I'll just give you that. They come to give me a group hug, and while they're giving me a group hug, all of them are hugging me, and that's when the knife goes in, and then they part out, and then I got the knife in me, and I fall down.
Now, are you guys on a stage?
Not really. It's like a restaurant floor, really. Tonight it's Knights of Columbus, so you know what those are.
So the people are all kind of sitting around you?
Yeah. They're all kind of included. You include the audience as like parts of the cast who it's a Whack family reunion, and everybody in the room is part of the Whack family or extended part of the Whack family. I'm Roland Whack. Roland R. Whack. The R stands for Roland. Because
so is Tony's ex-wife in this?
No. Tony's got an interesting thing there. His ex-wife Sally, right? I guess she left him. He got the house. He got the kids. He got wow, that's pretty cool.
But she kept the leg.
She got the leg.
Well,
yep.
The guy before Tony that she was with,
I don't know,
had one leg.
Oh, right. Yeah. He said that in because we did a
she has a type.
That's a strange kink.
Wait, is she single then?
Well, yeah, he just had a single leg.
Yeah.
No,
Steven's
okay.
thinking he's got no.
I got.
And it's both the same leg as well.
Yeah, I have no
legs,
like,
so it's a matching set. It's like
you have legs, they just don't work. That's not a turn on to her. She wants to make sure you're like a.
What happened with them? She's a nice woman. She was very nice.
And
then you go to do the governor's podcast, and she's the engineer, and he's sitting right there. And you want to say, "What's the story?" The stick's not big enough. Couldn't he use the stump? There's a lot of jokes that.
Are you and Peter doing a thing out of Governors? Because I know you were doing it out of that coffee place in the bottom there, or the chocolate place in the bottom there. But now you're on Governors. Are you doing it at Governors? You go there to do the.
They put our show on the Governor's website or whatever, but now we just taped a couple shows at Donna Drake's place. Test shows.
Wow, Donna Drake, there's a blast from the past.
Yeah, we did Minervini, and I guess we did Joey Cola again.
Oh, Joey Cola too, yeah.
And and it was fun taping there, but it was just kind of a test thing. But she wants to get paid, and I'm, it's one thing to not make money. I am not going to pay money to make a podcast. It's just something. At some
big
place,
money, right?
At some point,
she wanted $5,000 an episode from me. I was like, $5,000 an episode. I do one every day. Are you kidding me?
Oh no! I mean, that's chump change. She was talking about $25,000. $5,000, I do.
Wow, an episode.
$5,000. I think she wanted 500.
No, she wanted.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just. It's so frustrating. I don't understand any of it. I don't know if we're still on the governor's, on the Tied In Media platform. The guy that owns the whole thing.
Did Pink Tide just decide we're getting out of the podcasting thing, or you don't know?
I don't know. The guy, the owner, had some business failings or something. I really don't know, and I don't dig in. But I think they sold the chocolate business, and now the thing below there. I think he had grand designs. I really think, and it's kind of flattering, I really think he thought if he brought me in there to do a podcast, that my name was going to attract people.
Yeah,
other podcasts, and it just doesn't. I mean, 25 years ago it wouldn't have.
Yeah, but it does. I don't know if you know this about yourself. Let me tell you about yourself. There are people who stalk you all over. Now, they don't necessarily contact you directly, but they follow everything you are on. These are people again, I'm coming back to people who were.
Hello?
You can't hear me? Oh,
he's
you're on the phone?
No, he's on the phone.
Hello?
Hello. This is.
Hello?
I've been meaning to contact you about your car's warranty.
Hello?
Your car's warranty is desperately
Hello?
out of. Hello.
I just
you say goodbye, and I say hello. Hello.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I bailed out. I thought that might have been. PC
No, it's
Rich's
me. I've been trying to contact you about your car's warranty.
Thank you. So what are you
son of a bitch?
I'm saying there are people who follow you and they stalk you. These are guys, generally males, who were middle school or early high school in the 1990s at the peak of your Howard Stern years, who follow everything you do just to kind of rank on it, or they're just like stalkers. They might not contact you personally directly, but anybody else who ever talks to you, they will contact you. And you and Stuttering John are their two favorite targets out there. But anybody who has any association with Stern, they follow everything you do, and they know you've been on this. They know everything you've been on.
I have no idea. I have no contact with any of that.
Yes, I could see where the chocolate guy thought, you know what, there's a lot of interest in him, because there is. It's just not cool people or people with any money or anything like that. They're losers, guys who were just like beating off to Jackie's laugh in high school or something. That's what they were doing. Yeah.
At some point, I was starting to get flattered, and then I said, "Nah."
Yeah.
Well.
Well, no, yeah, I gotta say, your laugh is very exciting on a sexual level.
You know, it's really funny. At one point in the show, whoever I'm talking to says something, and I go, "Oh yeah." That's right, but it's not on purpose. I mean, that's something that's just in my speech, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So, yeah. But now coming back to you, and we mentioned McGuire's on the 14th a couple times here, but I thought your June was kind of booked up. I was under the impression that you were everywhere in June. No, the 6th.
I have.
Oh, that's today. Today is the 6th.
Very few gigs. I like after June 14th. I don't think I got another date till like July 25th. You know.
Oh.
When is your house's next gig?
I don't know. I hope soon. You know, they picked it up for season 2 for The Better Sister, and the girl. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. I just hope they use it again. That's all. Anything I say is
Jackie. Jackie, do you have a particular actress you'd like to see deflowered in your bed next?
Deflowered, he says.
Well, they would definitely not be still carrying a flower, but
well, probably not. But you know what I mean. I mean, who would you like to see in your bed next?
I'd like to see you deflowered in his bed.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how to say her name.
Oh yeah, Theron.
I'm so in love with her, and of course, you know, I love them all. You know, they're all so beautiful.
And this comes from a man who actually once licked mustard out of Florence Henderson's ass crack, right? It wasn't really mustard.
No, she ate it out of mine. No, I made out with her for a long time. I made out with her for a long time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Wow!
And people say, "Oh, you're disgusting." I'm like, "What? I'm not disgusting. I'm kissing a beautiful woman." You know.
I think you're mixing this up with.
She just happened to eat mustard out of your ass. That's fine.
Yeah, mustard. Yeah. I think I made that part up. No, there was mustard on her face or something, right? There was something.
There was mustard and ketchup. I was eating a hot dog with mustard and ketchup, and she came over and gave me a huge French kiss, and then I put part of the hot dog in her mouth, and she licked the ketchup and the mustard off me. You know, it was just funny and disgusting.
That was at a racetrack. The scene was at a racetrack, was it not?
Santa Anita.
Got the weirdest boner now.
Yeah, Santa Anita. Santa Anita is where my father lost me as a 3-year-old, and I ended up with a Chinese family for a week. No.
Wow.
No.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucked up. My father was so more interested in making sure his horse came in than keeping an eye on his 3-year-old son.
Well,
and
Matt, he had money on you. He would have watched you, but he didn't have any money on you. So why?
That's right.
It's such a shame he got you back.
Yeah. So tomorrow's the Belmont Stakes, and they're trying. Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I think I had the same reaction at 3 when they after they finally found me after a week. I was like, I don't want to stay here. I like the egg full young.
Hey, where's the Belmont Stakes? Is it in Saratoga?
Belmont Stakes is Belmont Lake State Park in Babylon. That's where it is. No,
it's in Saratoga. I think
so it's not in Belmont.
Fix up. No, they're renovating Belmont, right? I don't think they're done.
Didn't they? They had Belmont and Aqueduct. Is Aqueducts even still a thing? Like
you're talking to the wrong person. I know. No idea.
They're trying to suck me in, though. They got these ads now because I haven't been involved in horse racing. My father, I don't know if you know this, but my father was a degenerate gambler and a criminal and all this stuff. And so I tried not to get, and once I grew up and got away from my family, I didn't want anything to do with horse racing or any of that stuff. Now they're putting ads on Facebook and everything. Your first $25 bet free. And I'm like, damn, $25 is enough that I could actually make some money off that. All I need is one. And now I'm thinking, You see what you're doing? They're doing they're fucking a crack.
Do you have any idea how much our country has been totally destroyed? That gambling is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. They're betting on every strike, every umpire call, every batter. And now they're at the point.
It's weirder than that.
Where people are harassing and threatening the athletes and the sportscasters. Like these idiots. Like if they bet on Harry to strike out and he doesn't strike out, they go after his mother, his father, his family, his priest. I mean, the world is ending. It really is.
It's stupid. Everybody knows it's the bat's fault. Why you blame all those other people? It's the bat's fault.
Well,
that's stupid.
You can now bet on the weirdest things now. Like you can even there's betting sites now where you can bet that they'll show LeBron's bald spot or Tyrese Halliburton will smile twice in the third quarter.
Bet anything. Weird. Yeah, they were a former sponsor. I stopped doing that because I realized that's a very negative thing to put out there. But especially for compulsive gamblers who will bet on anything.
And the whole world is starving, and the whole world needs money, and the whole world's in trouble. Where these people have all these millions and millions of dollars to bet,
Yeah.
And
I'll be honest, Jackie. I bet you $100 that the whole world isn't starving. No.
Well, there's even sites now where gamers can go online and they can make bets on themselves versus a friend playing a video game for cash. Like you can literally gamble all the way down to the kid level of things. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But on this end of the world stuff, the biblical stuff. Last night I had a guest on who he's an author, a fiction author, but he also studies this stuff. He's an AI expert. His name is Guy Morris. He was one of the original game developers going back to the 70s. He knows his shit science, and we're talking about CERN and all this stuff. His book is based on a real thing. We were talking about AI, and he said right in the beginning, he said it was based on a real case where an AI program escaped, and I was like, as a program escaped. She said that's the language the NSA used and the FBI was using. The program escaped. This is a computer program escaped from the computer and went rogue out there. And his thing is like this is end time biblical stuff.
And they can create like an AI program can figure out how to compute and create its own fail-safe to keep anybody from disarming it. It's frightening.
This has already happened. Google was trying to delete an AI software they had created, and they thought they had deleted it, and the program had created its own backup in another system, and they found it and was able to delete that. But that has already kind of happened where it created its own failsafe.
Right.
Like it's already.
So, yeah, and he said, not trying, it's been programmed. Originally, when these things were developed, he's talking about going back 50 years now. When these things were developed, they were 2001 Space Odyssey. It had the HAL thing where it said, detect if somebody's going to try and shut it down and take steps to prevent that. So,
there was a movie called Colossus, the Forbin Project, way back.
Yeah.
And that was like the whole premise. Colossus became too big.
Yeah.
You know that the guy Ray Kurzweil, you know that name?
Yeah.
It's funny because his brother was my ex-wife's mother worked for his brother. He's a chiropractor here in Glen Cove, but Ray Kurzweil invented the
Moog or whatever.
That whole thing. But he's also one of these not wacko, but a crazy scientist, blah, blah, blah. And he predicted like 20 years ago that he predicted singularity, which is the point where the computers are as smart as mankind. And he predicted it to be 2049. And now he keeps, I think it might be down to it's next week now. You know what I mean?
Part of that, though, part of that is the computers are getting smarter, but we're also dumbing ourselves down. So we're meeting them halfway.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like we're getting smarter and they have to catch up to us. We've slowed down and they don't have as far to go.
The more we rely on them, The more we rely on them, the more they're going to be able to just do what they want.
Yeah. So
forget about them taking over. They're just all the jobs are just going out the window. All the jobs that people always say, well, if you at least if you're a farm worker, then these machines are going to replace you. But if you're a white collar worker, all of a sudden, all those jobs are just going out the window. I mean, it's insane,
Right. So basically, I just kept coming back to this idea that this is all like a really bad B horror movie where the audience is sitting and watching the world unfold and say, "Don't open that door. You know what's behind that door." And so we was talking about CERN because part of his whole thing is CERN has developed a mini black hole that proves the existence of a fifth dimension. And I was like, who is working at CERN who's making these decisions? Like, if I got the call, let's just say I'm running CERN and somebody says, I got a crazy idea. How about we open up a mini black hole? I say, no, don't do that. I know
right here in the middle of the city. Right here in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Open up a little black hole.
And so who's making these decisions? And he couldn't actually say who actually gets the final call on that. Who actually says, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Open up a mini black hole. What could go wrong there? But all of this seemed all too predictable, and it just seemed like
the last time I opened up a mini black hole, it cost me $75.
I know. Don't get GD's. GD's going to start talking about his family now.
No, I was gonna say it's some. There's some scientist who wants to stick his finger in it and test it. Let's see if it works. Puts down the zipper and says, "Let's see if that little black hole works."
So well, anyway, now that we're totally depressed for the weekend,
right? Well, that's what I'm saying. The world is coming to an end. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. And Jimmy Crackhorn, I don't care because I am painting. I'm doing paint parties. I'm doing music shows, and I'm acting. So life is good for me. My life, by all.
Whoa! What is a paint party?
I think we discussed it. I actually tomorrow. Is tomorrow Saturday? Yeah, tomorrow Saturday. I have one in Southampton for 35 people. I go to their home. I do a painting, and I teach them how to do it. I bring all the canvas, paint materials, and all this stuff. They drink, they smoke, they eat. We have some laughs, and we learn how to do a painting together, and they all have a good time. This is what I do now, and it's a way to create memories and stuff. I have a paint party outdoor event on Sunday. I'm going to that's going to be people just coming up and watching me do paintings and painting along, and the canvas is there, and it's a fun time. So
I've been actually playing with the idea of having instead of stand up and the same old thing. I'm thinking of doing joke parties at clubs, where the people come and I'll pass out jokes and people can tell them or come up and harass or play stump the joke, just to get away from the craziness. Now you don't want to go up and talk about politics and the end of the world, dick jokes and shit jokes and fart jokes, just innocent, stupid crap,
My friend Carlos Valencia,
I produced the show once, and one of my comedians at the last minute, he calls me and says, "I can't make it." And he goes, and he says, "I'm really upset because I have these two brand new jokes I wanted to try in front of people." And I said, "Tell you what, send me the jokes, and I will have somebody from the audience come up and tell them." And it just so happened that one of the groups was a bridal party, and so they were like kind of being boisterous. So I grabbed the maid of not the maid of honor, the lady that's getting married, that one, and I had her come up. And she read the jokes to the audience, and of course, she just became the center of attention. She just loved it. Their group settled down for the rest of the day because she got her moment in the sun. And it was fun. The joke itself was pretty good. She told it. She did a terrible job telling the joke, but it was a good joke. But
yeah, my friend Carlos Valencia, who is from Colombia but has lived in South Carolina
Maryland?
most of his life. He has a show called Comedy by Proxy, where the audience submits jokes into a bucket and he reads them from stage, but he doesn't do anything to help make it funny. Like, he will just read it very dry, and it's not necessarily good for a layman audience, but for a comedian to see him going up there and intentionally bombing with this bad material, reading jokes completely dry. It for me, it's one of the funniest things I have ever seen, just to watch him do that. But the audience
great
doesn't
fun.
get it. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we've milked this day to extreme. I have to go rehearse. I have to go read the script a few more 1,000 times. Here's the problem with tonight. They're all very comfortable with each other. They work together all the time. I'm the sub, and they ad lib. They don't stick to the script. So I'm trying to stick to the script for my cues and stuff, and they don't. Or sometimes they just look at me like that was supposed to be a line. Like you didn't give me my cue that's in the script.
Problem is Matt is not good at improv. As soon as he gets asked to improv, the first thing he says, "Your mother's a skank whore."
I did that last time.
It goes downhill from there.
I think I did that pretty much close to not your mother's a skank whore, but I think close to that. In the last one, where a guy came up to me with a line that wasn't in the script, basically accusing me of being the murderer. I was like, "No, you."
Jesus. So, is there any like fake blood and all that crap?
I wanted to bring fake blood. They said it's not necessary. It's a fake knife that, one of those magic knives where the blade goes in, and But
Right.
I thought, I should do this up like Trump with the ear, with the blood capsule. I should do it.
Well, that's last thing before we sign off here. Like Musk said, all right, here's the big bomb. The reason they're not releasing the Epstein files is because Trump is in them.
Yeah.
Which I think we all know, and I still can't believe they won't release them. Yeah. But I thought to myself, if I firmly fucking believe that assassination attempt was 100% staged.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. But I also got to believe if it was staged, Musk has to know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely more than Trump.
Will he get to the point? Will he get to the point where here's another bomb? Trump faked the assassination.
They're already talking about patching things up. Like, this is a thing that I remember talking to Stanhope about, because Stanhope was friends with Johnny Depp and all this stuff. And I said, this kind of stuff where you're just trashing your ex there, at some point you're going to get back together, and now you're going to have to explain all those fucking things you said about them in public there.
And all the people that took one side or the other, and It's like I broke up with my wife. Wow, well, she was a cunt anyway. And then the next time you see me, he's with her. He said, "You remember cunt, right?" Jesus Christ,
That's exactly why when I have friends that break up, I don't pick sides. I stay friends with both sides. If I was already friends with both sides, I stay friends with both sides. I don't say anything.
You learn that.
Yeah, because eventually
you learn that very early on. That's one of the first.
Or
things.
They get back together. And then one of them, then they had their first fight, and one of them says, "GD was right what he said about you."
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Oh shit! Yep.
All
right.
Yeah, that's rough.
Anyway, thanks for getting up and being part of the program, Jackie. You made our week. We started with Blind Mike and ended with Jackie.
Thanks,
How
Jackie.
about that? That's a week.
Jackie, I will, if it's okay, I will come up and get like a trunk load of suppositories or whatever it you had. What was it? What did he have hanging in his attic?
I think he got the black hole and the weed conversation mixed up here.
Oh,
yeah, he did.
Same shit. Same shit.
Yeah. All right, jokeland.com. And if you are on Long Island, come out to McGuire's next Saturday night, a week from tomorrow night. McGuire's, Peter Bales and the fabulous Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
7 p.m. Early show, 7 p.m.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
And they do accept food stamps as payment.
All right. Bye for now.
Oh, and and it's Father's Day. So cameo.com. I've been getting a lot of those. People love sending dirty jokes to their father,
Wow. I got an engagement party for my stepdaughter. But here's the deal. This is her third wedding.
$5. That's $5. It's gone up to $5, Matt.
A third wedding. How much? I keep giving money, like engagement party.
Third wedding. At this point, she should be giving money back.
Right, exactly. But the guy, it's his first wedding, and I know because he doesn't understand. I get it. This is the father of the bride thing. You got to pay for the wedding, right? But 3 of them is out of control, and so
no. You know, I'm sure there's the Riley's Rules of Order say, you know, you pay for the first one, you chip in for the second one, the third one she can go fuck herself.
All right, I'm gonna tell the kid to talk to you. I'm gonna get some consultation with Jackie about how this
does she honestly expect you to pay for it?
She doesn't, but he does because it's his first. He's the third guy in her line, but it's his first. This
is new to him, and he's got a point.
Yeah.
You know,
he's got to point at someone else for money. That's where he's got to point.
Right,
he's got to point at someone else to get that money.
Yeah.
If he wants to marry a worn out hole, that's his business.
Right. So instead of coming,
Matt, Jackie, it's new to him. New to him.
So instead of watching you do some jokes that will make me laugh, I'm going to go and cry over another engagement party. I'm not happy. Anyway,
there you go. Watch the show. Watch The Better Sister. Everybody watch it. It's great.
Amazon Prime, The Better Sister. All right. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. Bye for now. I will definitely be making a trip out there. All right.
Bye, you guys.
All right. Jackie the Joke Man Marling. Jokeland.com, folks. Write to Jackie.
You know, Matt, I think if we have Jackie on like maybe 5 or 6 more times, he actually may start to like me.
Jokeland@AOL.com if you want to write to Jackie and tell him that you've been stalking him since 1992 or whatever, and get off our backs with this stalking.
He giggled at my joke, so that was a highlight for me.
That is such a fanboy thing to say.
I'll take that.
He giggled at my joke.
I know it is. Well, Jackie's a legend, man. He's a legend,
right? And this is where these fanboys are at. Like, this is why, let's be honest here. Carl Hamburger, one of the guys who we're talking about here, he would kill to have Jackie on his program.
For the Yankees?
Huh?
Is that the new shortstop for the Yankees?
No, Carl. You know who Carl Hamburger is. Stop fucking with me, you fucking dick. But Carl, here's a point I'm trying to make, and I'm really struggling here. Carl takes the wrong tack. He would love to have Jackie on his program. I know that. He would love to have Stuttering John. He would die for that. But you catch more flies with sugar than you do with vinegar or something. What's that fucking thing?
I think you catch more flies on your penis.
More flies with honey than vinegar.
Actually, I think they prefer shit. But anyway, if he would be nice to me and nice to us, I would say, you know what, Jackie, why don't you do Carl's program and then make him happy? But he's just going to go stalk him around and then bash everything he does and say, look how far he's fallen. He's got to be on here. Well, you're not going to get him on your show. You want to talk to these guys? Be nice. Just be nice. I'm like, what's her name? Rosie O'Donnell. I'm the queen of nice.
Matt, yesterday's guest, Nana, Blazing Nana. I think the two of you would. I think she'd be a good guest to have on when you're actually.
You called me illiterate, by the way, and I'm not happy.
Did I call you illiterate? I don't remember that.
I have the tape. I have the fucking tape.
Is that on tape anywhere? I don't remember.
Yes,
Steven,
roll the tape. Roll the tape.
I would. The quote is, "I would speak for Matt, but he's illiterate."
I think the quote was, "I would speak for Matt, but I can't because he's illiterate."
Give a guy a pot.
And I'm not sure I used the word illiterate correctly, and that's been bugging me all day.
I was going to say it doesn't even make sense. Just because I can't read doesn't mean you can't speak for me.
Right. And the thing is, I was trying to think of how do I after I said it. I'm literally after I said it, saying you didn't use that correctly, but
you could have
everybody
said
laughed.
He's a deaf mute, and that would have made more sense.
That's what my brain kept saying. But then it would have made it. I don't know. I agree, Matt. I said it. I misused the word, but people laughed in real time. So what the fuck?
Yeah, right. In real time. So yeah, whatever. You know what?
But if somebody were tearing it apart, they'd go, GD misused that word, and so it's not funny. It's like, well, they laughed, and so yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed we had for a second here that box eating dad came out and said morning chat. Like, is he not? I mean, and then he didn't say anything negative about us. So what happened?
I'm confused too because I got a message from him. he sent me those original messages saying, don't disrespect Mike, blah, blah, blah. And then he came back with a message saying, you said that Mike was blind because he jerks off a lot. That's fucked up, but super funny. So I don't know what his tactics are. I'm just confused.
It's not super funny.
Look,
he has a button that deletes Steven every once in a while.
Maybe he's trying to encourage us. Like, that was funny. Tell another. Then I'm going.
Oh no, sorry. He said. Sorry, I was in the wrong. He said, "You said Mike is blind from jerking off. That's fucked up, but hilarious," is what he said. Sorry.
It's an old joke. It's not hilarious. It's something.
No, I know, but I was just.
I know. I'm just saying it. But let's be clear here.
Yeah.
The people that are supposed to be mad at are Beaverman and Mr. Tongue. Those are the guys who actually, because we didn't say anything negative. Steven was on the fence a little bit about, because Steven is young and he's easily manipulated into a mob mentality. And Beaverman and Ron, Mr. Tongue there, were trying to recruit Steven into the mob mentality. And he's young and he will fall.
Hold on. I've been recruited. I am a Slaptail Nation for life guy, but I like I said previously, the only problem I had with Blind Mike was his lack of heads up. That was it. And
right.
But then everyone else, then I started getting messages from other people, and I'm like, why?
Right. Well, look, he just keeps getting pulled out. But the point is, the people they're supposed to be mad at are not on this program. They weren't here the other day when they were saying, "Oh, you guys disrespect." The guys who disrespected him are not here every day. And Beaverman, like, been here twice in ever, and he was here that day, but he's not here. And Ron comes and goes. I thought he might be here today. He was here yesterday for a little bit, but you're angry at us.
He's driving today.
That's like being angry at Blind Mike for something somebody in his chat room said. It doesn't make any sense.
But here's something else I guess that some people may want to think about. I had no idea who Blind Mike was until somebody came in and said the Blind Mike was talking about me on the show.
I remember that day very clearly.
This started with them talking about me, and if I'm not allowed to respond or retort or comment, or I'm not going to say defend myself, because that's the only thing I did. I just wanted to get them to stop saying that my jokes was 5 years old when they were just watching it 5 years later. That was the only thing I wanted them to do, get the timetable right. Other than that, I don't care what they say about it. That was all I asked. And I think they corrected that later. But
right.
2 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've been doing. I think maybe it's 1 year, but they've been doing it for a while. It's been a while. It took me a while to go through all the material.
The New York Bets must be running out of money. From that first $25 free bet, it's down to $10 now. So I guess too many people
were doing what you. I think you came up with the thing about. You said they bet the money.
Bet on the favorite to show you can't lose. You're going to win.
Right.
You're not going to win the big money, but it's still a profit. You're just going to turn that into profit. And I would do that all day long. Just use another profile.
And I think that's why they dropped it down to 10. So when people do that, they're only losing a penny instead of 25 cents. Because depending on how many people do it, 25 cents adds up. So you get enough quarters.
Is there a Triple Crown threat this year, or the Kentucky Derby and Preakness had two separate winners? Do we know?
That's a good question. I didn't follow the Preakness.
The Preakness is the one that's right in your back door, right? It's right up your. I mean, it's right around the corner from your house. They run it in your backyard, don't they?
I produced and recorded a show on Preakness Saturday in the Baltimore area, and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until one of my friends, one of the guys who comes to my shows, he and his friends, he goes, "We won't be at your show because we're going to be at Preakness." And he goes, "But can you do a horse joke and record it so that when I watch it later, I can, I'll know." I said, "Yeah, okay." So I did. I wrote a horse joke for him just for that.
A horse joke.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Did it get any negative reviews?
Horse joke.
Why don't you watch the special and see?
It's not funny.
You gotta buy the book.
You're an anti-horse tight. Dave Portnoy, president of Barstool Sports. I don't even know how the fuck do you get rich with Barstool Sports. What do I know? I obviously don't know anything
Dave
about getting
Portnoy.
rich. Yeah. Well, he said he was arguing with somebody about Jew jokes and saying that Jew jokes lead to anti-Semitic violent attacks. And I'm like, well, I was unaware of this, but I'm certain that a billion Jewish comedians are also unaware of it, because mostly where I hear a Jew joke, it's from a Jewish comedian.
Right.
So
why didn't it happen to the Polish people with the Polish jokes, which have been around probably in the comedy world a lot longer than the Jewish jokes.
Right. But you can go through every Jewish comedian at some point will have a Jew joke in their set. Some of them do it like all set long. So he wants to ban Jew jokes.
Yeah, everyone from Seinfeld to fucking, you name them, they've done it.
And why didn't it happen with dumb blondes? Because there was the dumb blonde joke.
So
why didn't it happen with the dead babies? There were dead baby
clarify
jokes.
like that. Every Jew joke made by a non-Jew, it leads to a violent attack. But even that doesn't make any sense. But he didn't, because if you're gonna stop the Jew jokes, you better stop from the source, and the source comes from Jews.
Right.
That's gonna get me. Will that get us some ratings? No, because the Jews control everything.
Maybe. Oh shit!
I know.
You anti-Semite?
I'm a Semite. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I got to go rehearse. You guys got nothing to do, nothing better to do. Why don't you help me rehearse?
Are you high right now?
I do have something better to do. I have some yard work, and at around 3:00, I have a meeting with Alan Katz.
Are you high right now?
Are you high right now?
I'm currently destroying a comedy contest for discriminating against me. So,
because they're anti-Semitic.
Fuck them.
No, I'm not. It's very anti-Semitic. Yeah.
Fuck them. They're lost. Listen, we don't have ADA.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We are not ADA compliant on this show, but somehow you still show up.
Well, I find that the ramp to the stage is accessible.
Defamation? What, American Defamation? Oh, that's ADL.
Americans with Disabilities Act. Yeah.
So what you should do,
different.
Just say, I'll do it without any, I don't need any of that stuff. And then you get a couple of buddies, big strong buddies like Midget Fenderson over there. You tell them come to Indiana and lift you up and put you on the stage.
Yeah, tell them to, or matter of fact, invite me and tell them to invite me to the show, and then they'll check off the Negro box, and then I can help you on the stage.
The point of contention for me, it wasn't even the fact that they were like, hey, we don't have anything here for you to use. They didn't even reach out and say, hey, do you have your own equipment so you can get on our stage? Or, maybe send me a picture of it or something so I could tell them. It was strictly, hey, we don't have stuff. You're not welcome.
Well, maybe it was just not wanting to hurt your feelings. By saying, we don't think you're fucking.
Yeah, funny. Find out. Reach out to him. Say, well, reach out to him. Say, I have my own ramp. I was 4 feet of clearance or something.
Right.
I did. Well, I responded that I have a ramp, but if you don't think it'll work, then there's nothing I can do to force them into it. I mean, it's not like an establishment. It's it's an outdoor thing. But like I said, I got the email saying, hey, we loved your act. It's an outdoors thing with a portable stage.
Just drop your ass right on the stage from a helicopter.
But it was I got the email saying we liked your material. We'd love to have you on, confirming, we'll confirm your spot. And then I got the confirmation email saying, great, we'll send you the promo stuff soon. And then it was 2 days later that I got the email saying, hey, upon further review, we can't get you on the stage. So
in other words,
we're not going to have you on.
Yeah. Let me translate here. We loved your material. We liked it even better when Landau did it originally. And we've seen the tape, and so we're gonna get him.
All right, we need to stop this because
it is what it is. But it.
All right.
It's just one of those things where I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Guys,
but-
I have we got to cut this at 11:30. We have to stop. We have to
You
get
can
back
always
to being
pop
on
out. I'm going to end it right now, but there's no reason. If you ever feel obligated, you could just drop out.
I can't. I can't because I have to do it on the 15s.
I don't see anything listed for next week, and I know we have guests here for next week.
Didn't you say the calendar thing was down for a week? Is it back up?
No, there's a blackout. So if somebody wanted to book tomorrow or Monday, today, they'd have to wait till next Friday. You can't book. There's a 7-day blackout period when you go to the calendar. You can't, because I don't want people booking tomorrow, today, and then I got to scramble to make
I see we'd have no guest on Monday. But on Tuesday we have Dr. Charnel.
Yeah, see that's
Charnel.
I know. Hold on.
In the second hour.
All right. Let me really quickly see if I can figure out what the hell's going on. We have guests all next week.
Well, just for the record, Mr. Rhodes says I missed Jackie.
Yeah.
Boo. I guess that's his nickname for Jackie. Like my wife used to call me Boo.
That's his Boo, yeah. If you miss Jackie that much, you can see him doing the Slutty Sister on Amazon Prime, or wait, the
better sister, the one that swallows.
Swallowing sister, the
pointed sister,
the sister that swallows, that doesn't spit. All right.
Spits by name, swallows by reputation.
Yeah. So let's all go to Jackie's and pick up some free weed.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yes, let's go. Let's do
make a party of it.
Can I? I don't know if I could say this on the air, so I'm just going to whisper it. The weed's not worth a trip from Maryland. I mean, really, it's not worth that.
It's just hanging out. It's just hanging out with fellow people that I thought were friends until recently.
Yeah. Well, his neighborhood. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I look like you, I would be nervous in his neighborhood. That's all.
I had a friend of mine who lived in such a neighborhood, and I went to his house pretty close to Sunset, and he had a very long communal driveway, and I went down to the wrong house. But as soon as I realized it, I said, "Oh, I'm in the wrong driveway because their house is up on that hill over there."
You're in the wrong town. You're in the wrong
so I'm going to turn around, and there's a guy running out the house, and he's like armed, and he goes, "Can I help you?"
Yeah.
I said, I was looking for my friend's house. He goes, "You don't have any friends around here."
Yeah. Yeah, and so then Jackie's house will be available for every shoot because he will have to move out because.
You know, I bet if Jackie put his house on a porn listing,
if I dress as a landscaper, I don't think there'd be a problem.
Right. So it might. I know we have to wrap this up, but to ease your mind a little bit, the guy that Tony is making wear a dress tonight is not black. He's a equal opportunity shamer. He likes to shame, and he likes to make any guy dress up. It doesn't matter about race. So if that
well, just the fact that I was available to help him, and he didn't pick me. That hurts my feelings.
I don't think he knew you were available. I think.
I thought you were going to tell him. I thought you. But you didn't need him to. You didn't need to because you decided you took the job.
Right, and that wasn't for the part of the dress guy, the guy in the dress.
He wouldn't have made me the patriarch. He wouldn't have made me the father of all those kids.
That would have been very weird for the father being
black and all that.
Well, the last one, the daughter was black. It's like you had all these Italian mobsters, and the daughter happens to be a black guy.
Yeah, so I guess it could have worked. You know, it's you have to.
It just adds to the audience confusion, and I think that helps the overall spirit of the play. And
if she married some guy named his last name is Off, then she'd be like something whack off because you'd have to hyphenate it.
That's one of the jokes.
I knew it. Yeah.
Low hanging fruit that's in the.
I know. I understand. I know how dinner theater works.
All right.
You dumb it down for the audience so they can enjoy their food and the humor at the same time.
All right. So that's where I'll be tonight in Hicksville, Long Island. I'll be dying. I look forward to dying. You know how much I look forward to dying.
Yeah. And
I want to see if I can get it on video.
We look forward to your resurrection. Will you be resurrected by the 8th, which is Sunday?
Well, I would just love to be able, once I die, just to be, all right, I'm out. I got to go home. It's a long drive for me. I'm dead. Just don't mind me. Somebody pull me off the fucking floor here so I can leave.
Well, if you're not going to be there Sunday, just let me know by Saturday night so that I can.
I'm not going to be there Sunday. I have set up at 9 a.m. over at the live event that I have to do. Steven, could you do that Sunday? Could you be a sound effect guy and producer in the back end? Can you work his back end for him?
I think that's a no. I think he just said fuck no.
Yes, right. I can. Sorry,
right,
yes, I can.
Right. You can't even work your front end. You're
going
to be working somebody else's back end. I don't know. All right, let's get out of here.
I'm efficient at back end work, but
yeah, Stephen, we'll talk on Saturday then, so I can help you out with
fuck yeah,
the way stuff does on the way the Reverend runs things on Sunday, because he runs things totally different the way Matt runs it on Monday through Friday.
Just give me a load. Yeah, we'll meet Saturday. Totally give me a lowdown on how it works and what you need me to do, and we'll get.
I'll have to have Matt to show you how it works. I have no idea how any of it works. No,
it doesn't work. That's how it works. It doesn't work. I'll just be honest with you right now. It doesn't work. All right,
let's have Bill on Monday.
Oh well, come on, man. Yeah, have him on. Set it up, Steven. You're the producer.
Bill, I'll send you a link Monday morning.
All right.
I'll have you a link Monday morning.
Real quickly before we go, did Ron change his days or something? He's has off Thursday now.
No, Ron is driving.
He took yesterday and today off to go to Connecticut. He's going to Connecticut. So
wow, that came up pretty quick. I remember him saying, "Yeah, I got Connecticut in June, and here it is, June, and he's here." Wow, all right. I forgot all about that. All right, good for him. All right. Well, you guys have a good weekend. I'm going to be doing what I do. I'm going to be dying and then painting. Drinking foot. All right. Out. Says, what do I tell him to do? To remember to
flip off
don't forget to turn on your radio.
Finish inside me.
Are you high right now?
Finish inside me. It's what I call schlong division.
What's in the box? What you wanna do, baby? It's on you, baby. Fucking right. to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.